We're live. Woo! Hey, everybody, welcome to the Movie Busters, episode 10. This is our special October, our favorite horror films. Look at, we got Thomas Kruger, who has a Myers mask for some reason, dancing around here.
Well, that's who you're gonna be, huh?
So yes, I am Alex Voorhees. Voorhees.
Thomas Kruger, even though I'm wearing a Myers mask.
That makes no sense.
I'm David Dunn.
David Dunn?
Yeah, I'm the overseer.
Where they do it, family? He peeled off my face, and this is what it is. If you look at his face, it's actually my face on his.
All right, that's why he's not moving so much.
I touch people and learn their
secrets. You touch people?
Yeah, okay there, right? Oh man, he touched me all right.
Oh god. So yeah, we're gonna talk about our favorite horror films tonight.
That's right.
I can't breathe in this goddamn thing.
Oh, you know what? All right.
You can see your shiny ball head.
Oh man.
Sorry for the glare.
It was coming from my face.
But anyway, before we get, we're just gonna have our top 10 and honorable mentions tonight. But before we get to that,
oh, you mean top 5, right? Top 5 horror films.
Yes, top 5.
Top 5. Correction.
Top 5. And before we get into our top 5 and honorable mentions, I wanted everybody to just talk about what got them into horror films.
Okay.
Just give like a context, like a backstory you want.
Okay.
So you can go first, Hewitt family.
Well, I kind of said this earlier, but I'm definitely, I feel like the least knowledgeable as far as horror movies go. I think you three are ahead of me as far as that goes. And I didn't get into horror films until like later in life. I was actually growing up, like I didn't get to watch R-rated movies. I didn't even get to watch PG-13 until I was like 13. Yeah, like when I started watching them, Bob is who got me into horror movies, and it was probably in like the 90s, I would say. And then so like I got into like the classic like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, the Halloween films, where I ended up like buying all of them and you know getting to enjoy that genre. I would say probably in the last 10 years I've gotten out of that genre again. So I haven't seen a lot of the newer horror movies, but and Bob will mention some and we'll check them out, and I really like them. Just to name a few, these are not my honorable mentions, but just to kind of give you an idea, like the Conjuring movies, I really enjoyed those. I liked the Evil Dead remake.
What?
Yeah, I did. I liked it. Like Bone Tomahawk. That movie was fantastic. I loved that film. So yeah, like I said,
we just saw Crawl too.
Yeah, Crawl.
I just saw that yesterday.
Crawl was good.
I like that one.
Yeah. Like personally, I feel like a lot of horror movies nowadays like don't hold a candle to the older films,
right?
And a lot of that has to do with, and this is in just cinema in general. Like, man, practical effects just look so good and just seem more realistic. A lot of times when there's CGI, you can just kind of tell, like, okay, that's not real. But everyone has to. A lot of movies deal with jump scares and recycled plots. So I'm definitely more of a fan of the older horror movies.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think we're all going to agree on that one.
So yeah, that's pretty much my backstory on that.
All right, Bobby. Okay.
I've already explained that in my video, my introduction to horror. Like, I remember watching Friday.
Sorry. Before you go, I want to know, Dan, what was the first horror movie you saw?
Oh,
I forgot to mention that.
If
you remember at all.
I don't want to say because it's on my list.
Okay.
Or-
Okay, when you say on your list, then you can mention
Is it
it.
older or newer?
It's an older movie.
Okay, okay. All right. Then when you get to it, then you'll mention it. Just remember to mention that was the first one. Oh, you go
Okay.
ahead, Bobby.
Friday the 13th Part 3 was the very first one I ever saw, and that was the very first one I ever collected. And because of that, I not only got into the Friday the 13th series, but I got into Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw, all that stuff. That was the movie that was the pinnacle moment of my life where I'm like, you know what? Like, this is just awesome. So I became obsessed with like horror films. Like, I remember going to bed at night, waking up for school. Right when I'd come home from school, I'd put in a Friday the 13th movie. Like, it's crazy.
Mhm.
So that was like I think my introduction into horror was, I have to give all the credit to Friday the 13th. So that's why I'm such a big fan of that franchise.
Oh, and by the way, before we get on to before you continue, we have a live comment from Chucky Doll.
Yeah.
He says, "What's up, guys? 5 more days for Halloween. Also, I rank all 9 James Wan's films that he only directed. Can't also wait for The Conjuring 3, Nun 2, and Crooked Man." What's the Crooked Man?
Conjuring 2.
Conjuring 2.
What?
Yeah, and Conjuring 2.
Oh, okay, right, that character.
Yeah, the Crooked Man is when they were playing that old film.
Oh, I didn't know they were doing a spin-off of that.
I just got that Curse of La Llorona. That's actually a good movie. I really.
I wasn't a fan, I gotta say.
Why is that?
I didn't think it was that interesting, to be honest.
Well,
Yeah, and I wasn't really biggest fan of Annabelle Comes Home either.
that's the only one I haven't seen out of the universe.
That one, I don't want to get into that one. Why I didn't like it, but go ahead and see it for yourself.
Yeah,
It's not that either those two are not the worst in the franchise. I prefer those over like the first Annabelle and the Nun, to be honest. But yeah, that's I don't know.
Okay. Well, moving on to whoever's next.
Thomas, you go.
I guess I'll go next for my background in the horror.
Mr. Kruger.
Well, actually, my first introduction to horror was actually the Friday the 13th franchise. One of my cousins, who back when she was a teenager, sometimes would come over to my old house, and she would watch on demand, and she would mainly watch a lot of Friday the 13th movies on demand. And I always remember, like, I was walking to the living room, and she would always have like a thing of like mac and cheese in front of her, and she'd be eating that while watching a Jason movie. And I would see like little snippet clips. Like I remember seeing a clip from I forget one of the Jason films where they were showing like all the flashbacks of like when his mask got ripped off and things like that. I don't know if it was like part 4 or it was something. It was like one of the Jason films where I remember like they were showing like a couple flashbacks from like the previous other movies. And
probably that's part 4, right?
I think that's part 4.
Or it might have been part 6. I don't remember.
Well, part 4 has the intro with the show, like the past films.
Okay,
That one in part 7 had it.
Yeah,
Part
okay.
6, where it's like there's a legend around here,
Yeah.
buried but not dead.
Yeah, I think it was one of the ones where Walt Gorney was actually the narrator.
Yeah, that's part 7.
Yeah, that must have been.
I know them by heart.
Yeah, so I remember seeing like all these clips of like Jason films from when she was watching it on demand, and that kind of got me into the character. After that, I started looking a lot for like Jason merchandise. Like I remember down the shore, I won this crane game where you can win like a Jason doll, and it was like really detailed and things like that. Then the first movie that got me into horror films was one of the Jason films, and that was part 4. Part 4 is my intro to horror, and then after that, then I started watching the Jason films. I watched from the beginning to the end of them. Then I watched the Halloween movies and the Freddy movies. Then I started getting into like Candyman and things like that. So that was part 4. Was really final chapter was really my intro to horror films. It was mainly because of my cousin watching all these Jason films. I saw little snippets of clips from the movies. So that's my little background. It's how I got into horror.
Cool.
Alex,
All right.
Mr. Voorhees.
That's Mr. Yeah.
That-
I was
that-
saying that's Mr. Voorhees to you, buddy.
yeah, that's
But yeah, the first horror movie I ever saw
Deadfall.
was what? You're gonna do the guessing game? You're gonna guess?
But how's your mom doing?
No, I'm saying you're. No, I'm just saying like. Just
Mr.
saying,
Voorhees.
if you're Voorhees, that means you must be a dead fuck, Jimbo.
How's Pamela? Are you still mad that she's decapitated? Get over it, little boy.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, dead fuck. Go ahead,
Yeah. Okay. All right. Teddy.
Jimbo.
Yeah. But the first horror movie I ever saw was Halloween: Curse of Michael Myers. That was when it just came out on VHS.
Ouch.
Whoa, like, whatever. I mean, but like, it was cool. It's kind of cool because like I didn't know anything about horror movies at all. I didn't know anything about Michael Myers, Halloween, nothing. And I saw this like, oh, this is a guy who kills people and it wears a mask, doesn't talk. That's creepy. Even though the movie's not great, but the funny thing about that, like when I saw it for the first time, I don't remember Loomis and I don't remember the Thorn cult and all that stuff. I remember like everything else about it. It wasn't until like I eventually saw the other Halloween movies. So, okay, Loomis and Michael Beck's and all that. Okay, Chucky Doll says, sorry, Alex, Chris Michael Myers is shit. The hospital scene was cool and kills were great. I'm not defending the movie. I'm just saying that's the first one I saw.
Better than 5.
Yeah, I agree. It is better than 5. It is. 5.
It's not saying much, but
5 is just almost unwatchable. But and then like that was like what 90. It came out VHS on 96, and then like I was watching like movies like I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then some other ones, and it wasn't until like. And then it wasn't until like it's this okay. Since you're not gonna mention this, one of your movies in your list, Dan. This one movie that's in my top 5 is the one that really got me looking for other horror movies.
okay.
And then eventually I saw Friday 13, all the Friday 13 movies, all the Elm Street movies, the rest of the Halloween movies, and some of the other the classic films and the Universal stuff like that. But yeah, like it's like it's even to this day it's hard to explain like what fascinates me about horror movies so much. Even as a kid, like when I would go to the video store, the first thing I will ever do is go to the horror section, even though I know I wouldn't be able to rent anything I wanted. I would have to pick the newest family flick or some other or action movie or whatever, or a comedy. But every time I went to the video store, I always go to the horror section just to see what they have. They would always have all the Elm Street, all the Halloweens, all the Friday 13s.
Chucky Doll commented, have you guys seen 3 from Hell yet?
No, I haven't. And
Yeah, I thought it was the weakest out of the Firefly franchise.
yeah, that makes me now want to watch it all because I'm not really that big a fan.
No, it's not a bad movie. It's just without Sid Haig. I think to me, it's not,
Rest in peace.
And
yeah, maybe.
it doesn't ruin the ending of the Devil's Rejects anyway.
Well, it's kind of. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this, but it kind of shades over what happened. They kind of just say, okay, they survived, but they throw this other guy in there.
Yeah.
He's all of a sudden Otis's stepbrother for no reason. He's just there. We don't get any explanation on where he came from. He's just there taking Sid Haig's place. But to me, it's kind of like, well, that's not the same. It just doesn't.
Because originally it was going to be the 3 main characters, and then Sid Haig couldn't do it because he's too sick.
Sid Haig had one good scene in that movie, and it was really good.
Well, wasn't he? He only has his only scene.
He has one scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one scene and that's it. But I don't know. The movie was just okay to me. nothing major. Anyway,
So it really didn't have to be made.
I didn't.
That didn't have a theatrical release.
It came out in certain theaters, like
Yeah,
limited.
limited. Yeah.
But Rob Zombie says, I watched special features. He said in the features, he said, I was in a dilemma making Three from Hell. He's like, I could either do it with Sid Haig only having one scene, or I could just not do it because Sid Haig was not doing good. He was not feeling good, and Rob Zombie said he was kind of in a dilemma. What should he do? In my opinion, he should have left it alone.
Yeah.
That's what he should have done. But
Yeah.
he made it. But whatever.
And on top of that too, going back to what you were saying, Alex, about your experience, like when I was a kid myself, I would always go to the horror section looking at all the horror movie covers, and I think all the horror movie cover had really cool VHS covers.
Yeah, that was back then when they still had the old VHS.
Yeah,
cover.
VHS. I remember like seeing like certain movies in the.
I had like some like Friday Night, like always the poster of the.
I would always
Friday Night.
lots in the horror section too.
Yeah. Even though I didn't see the movie until like many years later.
Yeah.
But like, I would be lucky even like, to even get to rent any of these horror movies. When I was a kid, I mean, I had to practically beg to each rent one. You know, it's like if I got to rent one, I would have to like wait like another month or two to rent another one. If I was even like,
I have a problem watching movies at a young age. My dad, he knew that I knew it was just a movie.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So it's like my mom probably didn't really agree, but my dad was just like, "Go ahead." He's like, "It's fine."
yeah. It's like my mom was like, no, never, and my dad was like, sometimes, not all the time. And then I had an uncle like, yeah, just don't watch anything as long as it's not like pornographic or anything like that. You know?
Well, the Friday 13th movies, like that was.
Yeah, but those are just movies; they're not actually pornos, you know.
Like, this is cool. Look at that. Ooh.
Yeah. Those are fake. But anyway, yeah, actually, even to this day, it's hard to explain like what exactly fascinated me about horror movies as a kid. It's just like I didn't exactly get scared. Like, oh, like it creeped me out. And I never really had nightmares, but they still fascinated me. You know, some of them were kind of bad that made me laugh. You know,
Like which one?
the Phantoms, like that movie was a comedy to me when
You're
I
the
first saw
bomb
it.
fan, dude.
Today it seems like it's more exploitation
Right.
horror films because like those are like the torture porn, that kind of stuff is different from what those movies were back in like the 80s. Is that they were just typical horror films that had the same kind of cliches and the same kind of stuff, but like exploitation's all about torture and like that kind of stuff just goes overboard. It seems like.
Yeah.
And I can imagine watching that at a young age. That would be kind of like.
But like I started watching movies before the torture porn subgenre. Like
Yeah, but I'm just saying, imagine watching those type of films at a young age.
like Hostel and
Yeah,
Saw
exactly.
movies. Yeah. But yeah, I mean like it just like I liked being like creeped out a bit. Like it got a kick. I always got a kick out of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and then like, and there was years where I didn't watch horror movies at all.
Yeah.
Like the mid late 2000s, I wasn't really watching horror movies. Like pretty much like when I was in high school, I wasn't really watching horror movies at all. So I was getting into like independent films and more like Oscar type films like that. And then like after high school, I started getting into horror again, and I watched even more horror movies than I ever did. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I want to add real quick that I worked at a video store for 10 years, and I think that
lucky you.
Yeah, it was, and it actually got me. I think that is when I started to really watch a lot of horror movies because I would get like screeners before the movies would come out, or just the free rentals,
Right.
And I don't think I don't think I can pinpoint a movie where I was like, this one got me into horror. I think I just was like, okay, like because I can't really think of a specific film that got me into the horror genre, but I just remember all of a sudden watching them and being like, okay, these are cool, and then just continually getting into it.
I remember you brought the screener for Scream.
Yeah.
The very first time I was absolutely amazed by that movie. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Like that was. You're like, oh, this movie's scary. It's like a phone call, and like, oh man, I'm like, I remember that.
Yeah, that opening shocked me. And again, I wasn't used to seeing horror movies.
We weren't used to seeing that. That was actually an original film, like an original type.
No. I have a real quick question. No one needs to elaborate anything, but for you three, what is your favorite series? Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, or Halloween? You can just say.
Those three?
Yes.
Friday 13th.
Friday 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I can say that is because I like every single movie in that series, and I can't say the same for the others.
I
Right.
would say the same thing, but like, there's more movies in the Halloween series and the movies that I don't like.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like I consider like part 8 of Friday 13th the weakest of the Friday 13th. Like that, and honestly, Freddy vs. Jason has really gone down for me. But I'd rather watch those over like Halloween 5 and Resurrection and
Yeah, like out of
Dead.
the Elm Street films, like I don't care for part 5 and part 6.
Mhm.
Friday the 13th films just have that charm about them. They're so
Yeah.
stupid. Some of them are. They're fun.
Hey, part 5.
Yeah, I mean, like, how can that even be good? It is.
Yeah, but if we get to like if we ever talk about those franchises, we'll talk about those franchises. Like
Yeah.
more in depth. Halloween show coming next year.
Yeah.
I gotta set up. You gotta set it up. Future shows.
We should start that show at like 2 in the afternoon.
Unless you want to split them up at different times, you know. Let's talk about the first, I don't know, 6 films and then the rest. Some of it, I don't know. It's a lot.
Thanks.
We'll just skip part 3.
For you.
I like it. It's just a standalone film. I'm just saying. I don't mind talking about the movie. I like that movie. Okay, well, let's get into our top 5.
Okay.
All right.
Let's get into it.
And just to make it more surprising, don't mention your honorable mentions first. Do that last.
Okay.
Do your honorable. Okay.
You mean honorable mentions
honorable mentions.
before the
No.
number 1?
No, after
your
you do your list.
First?
Do the whole list, then do honorable mentions?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to do like 5, 5, 5, 5 like that. Like we did.
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that way better.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like
So who wants to go first with their number 5?
Let the Illinois guys do it.
All right, Hewitts.
I feel like I always start. Maybe you should start.
Illinois Chainsaw Massacre.
All right.
Philly boys.
The Illinois water.
Chainsaw Massacres.
This thing sucks, by the way. Don't ever come here. Anyway.
What's the route?
Too many farms.
All right. So my number 5 is a film directed by Neil Marshall, and it is The Descent.
Great choice.
This.
I still haven't seen that movie, to be honest.
Oh my God! You need to see it.
Yeah, I do.
Great movie.
If you got claustrophobia, this will definitely affect you. And again, this is how you do a movie with an all-female cast, right? Okay, they got notes from the.
What other movie you could you possibly be talking about?
Ghostbusters.
Really, Ghostbusters?
This, honestly, that's what I'm worried about with the new Terminator. They better not do that. But anyway, this, there's a, what's her name? Shauna McDonald. Like in this movie, she's like really, I want to say she's not really shy or anything, but she's kind of quiet because of what happened to her. But then she turns into like this force. Like she just starts fighting these creatures and stuff. It's awesome. Like, do you want to talk about like the story or anything, or just?
You got it.
We could do it quickly if you want.
Yeah.
Not spoiler.
But what's funny is before you get to that, Rob, when you said Neil Marshall, I'm like, oh, it's probably Dog Soldiers.
But that's not a horror movie, is it?
Well, that's it. Yeah.
It's a werewolf movie, so.
Okay, right. Sorry.
So,
But yeah, go ahead.
really quick, the story is a bunch of girls go into this cave that's unexplored. They go in there, and they get trapped because the way that they came in gets blocked, so they have to keep pushing forward, and they run into these creatures that are underground that can see in the dark, or no, they can't see. They go by sound and smell, but they've adapted to the dark, and so these girls have to basically go through these tight cracks and stuff like that, and try to get out. And these creatures are like, trying to take them out and stuff. It's I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. There are a few movies that are kind of like in the same kind of genre, like The Cave, which is not that good, I don't think.
And on top of that, there was also a really limited version of that called The Cavern.
The Cavern, yeah.
There are not that many, really, right?
Well, As Above, So Below is kind of like that, but
yeah.
But that movie sucked.
As Above, So Below.
Yeah, I didn't like that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a part 2 to this, which sucks. I mean,
just watch this one. So you tell me.
The Descent 2 movie, it does.
Yeah,
I gotta check that. I gotta check
just
this out.
check this one out, Alex.
Yeah, I do have to. Yeah. I know you talked about it many times before. I was like,
yeah.
You showed me that movie.
Oh, did I show you that?
Yeah,
one?
yeah, it was good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
I definitely like that one. It really does. I mean, I don't like being claustrophobic, and it definitely
The
gives that.
atmosphere,
It gives
yeah.
you that kind of feel.
Right. So
I'm not claustrophobic, but if I got stuck in something that I knew I wasn't gonna get out or something, yeah, I would become claustrophobic. But naturally, I'm not.
It's like the best of both worlds. Like they get stuck, and then they're trying to survive from these things. It's like that's terrible, in my opinion. What's the worst way to die? Like, what is the worst fear? Like being trapped out in the ocean, right in the middle of the ocean where there's
Being
sharks.
tortured, probably.
Here, you're underground in the dark. It's hard to breathe. You're trying to squeeze through these rocks, and then there's these creatures that are coming after you. It's like, oh my god, what would you do?
If you got like serious claustrophobia, that's
honestly, I'd rather just die of claustrophobia and just instead of being eaten by it.
Shoot me in the head and get over with.
Yeah, beat me in the head with a rock. Anyway,
a great choice. Wasn't expecting to the
Yeah, I didn't expect.
wasn't expecting.
What year they came out? Like,
2005,
oh, okay, so that's more of a newer movie.
sort of.
It's 21st century, so I consider that new.
Was not expecting The Descent. That's a good surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
So, Dan, you go next.
All right. So I went. I actually, my number 5. I went against what I had already said earlier, in that older horror movies are better. There was a recent horror movie that I really liked, and it's a movie that I can actually watch multiple times and not get sick of it. It.
Oh,
The miniseries?
The part one, the new one.
Oh, 2017. Okay.
Yeah, the new one.
Really?
wow.
Yeah, really. Now, again, I need to point out that I was a huge fan of the miniseries, and I still am a huge fan of the miniseries. I would say that that came out in 1990 or 91, if I remember.
90.
I would say that's around where I was getting into the horror movies, and I love that film. And so when this
I was born in that year.
you were born, I was 10, so
I was a baby.
I wasn't born.
I can't. That was a movie like
I was
that.
8.
Yeah.
Some of the
Thomas didn't even exist yet.
No, I did not.
that was that movie, like some of that stuff shocked me because I hadn't, and it was on regular TV, but it was pretty bloody in some of the scenes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The bathroom sink. Yeah.
yeah. So like when this remake was coming out, I was, again, being a fan of the miniseries, I was like, okay, I'm glad they're remaking this because I just like the story, and I'm like, hopefully it's different enough that it won't seem like, oh, it's just the same movie. And from that opening scene, I just was hooked. I was just like, man, I'm like, they really did such a good job. And I feel like what I like about that film is, and again, it's not scary really. I'm not like scared of it, but the actors were just so good, the child actors in the film, and I really liked the way the director did some of the scenes. So yeah, I don't know. Like surprisingly, and it's like I had said, like I'm not really into a lot of the newer horror films, but something about that movie, I just really liked it. And I'll say it right here, like part 2 was okay at best. Like it saddens me that it's one story, but like part 1 is just so much better than the sequel in my opinion.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like part 2 of the original miniseries was better.
I think it is. But
Well, it's not.
I was surprised how
I mean,
how much weaker the second part was.
it's not
Yeah.
a knock against like the actors. Like I like James McAvoy. I like Jessica Chastain. I
I
like
just felt the story was meandering around.
the miniseries cast a little bit better.
yeah, part 2 had a better cast, I think.
I like John Ritter, Harry Anderson, may rest in peace, Tim Reed, and Richard Thomas, and that is cool. And how do you say Richard Masur?
Dennis Christopher.
How do you say that guy's name? Richard Masur, Richard Masur?
Mazur, I think.
Yeah, the dad from License to Drive, The Thing.
So for me, I like the cast and the new one better, but I felt the miniseries had them more to do. Like they had more to do in the miniseries, the part 2 miniseries,
There's
than
some
the
creepy
new one.
miniseries.
Really, like that's why I felt disappointing. The second one, I was like, oh man,
The
like
second one was just too. There's things in the second one, the new one,
mhm.
that they could have cut out to actually make it.
we wasted way too much time. Like there was nothing going on in the story. Like
Yeah, I mean,
most of it.
Yeah, like I said, like I kind of lowered my expectations when Alex told me that it wasn't as good as part 1. I saw it, I'm like, yeah, I can definitely see why he said it's not as good. It's not.
Nah,
It's
Too
not.
long.
I actually agree. I thought the miniseries part 2 was better than this new
I
part 2. But
agree.
what's so shocking to me is that it was the same director. I just don't know
Yeah.
how he messed up so bad in the second film. But
It's kind of like a different director made it.
to
What?
me, it seemed like he said different director. Like he said, it felt like a different director made it.
Second part.
No, it just seems like he really. It's like that second part of the story is tricky to do because it's like it just. I think the main problem with me is that once the kids defeat Pennywise in the first part, it doesn't feel as engaging when they're adults and it's not as powerful, you know.
Well, it's like I
When
feel
kids
like
defeat them, rather than just adults, it's the same characters,
the thing is like when they're kids, it's more creepier. That's why it's so
Yeah.
good.
and it's more empowering and more relatable when they defeat
When
Pennywise.
they're adults, it's not as scary as like when they're kids.
And the climax in the part 1 was more satisfying because they actually fought him.
Sad too.
oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Like there was like some emotional
There was like
stuff in that
I
movie.
can't even think of one emotional thing in chapter 2.
Yeah.
Too much comedy as well.
It was, it makes me wonder if, the miniseries had like the adults with flashbacks in part 1.
Right.
This movie, it was like they lumped all that in the second movie. It makes you wonder if they would have had some of that into the first movie, if they could have
It
balanced the films better, because
It
the first
wasn't.
movie
Yeah,
was superior than the second.
it wasn't necessary to have flashbacks in part 2 because we already saw their story as kids. So what is the point of the flashbacks?
Well, if they show things they didn't show in the first one, that's fine. I mean, if they show, like in the second part of the miniseries, they show Stan going into that house and then he's coming down the steps. That was a creepy part.
Right.
But
Yeah.
see, that worked because they didn't show that in the first part. So,
Right.
What's that?
I don't know.
Beat-
I have no idea what the hell it was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So part one, I'm gonna say is my number 5.
That's a good pick because that's an excellent film.
Okay, well, since Thomas just had to walk away, I guess I'll go next. My number 5. Number 5 is, I consider this easily the best found footage film ever made. And that's the Blair Witch Project.
The original one.
Nice.
The original Blair Witch Project.
Good choice.
Nice. Yeah.
It's funny because, like, okay, a little backstory. Yes, I was like 9 years old when that movie came out. So yeah, at first I thought, oh, it's real. They did a good job. Even though I didn't have the internet at the time, but like I heard the hype. Like, oh, like it's a real. Like I never seen anything like it. So like I didn't see it till like a year later, and then like I was after the hype died down. and I kind of figured like, oh, this is just they made it look real. It's not actually real.
Did you mention your number 5, Alex, or no?
Yeah, I'm going with my number 5, Blair Witch Project.
Oh, Blair Witch.
Yeah,
Good
and
one.
the first time I saw it, it was on VHS, and I really liked it. And then I didn't see it again until like 10 years later, and then on DVD, and I saw it again. I was like, it blew me away. Like, wow, this movie holds up. Like, still,
I've heard
the
it.
acting's so good. The acting's so underrated. I don't know. Like, to this day, I don't know why people hate the actors in it, especially Heather. She was great.
I don't think people like found footage. I just don't think people like it.
And the way, like, and I finally found out how they did the movie. Like, they had the actors pretty much improvise all the dialogue. They got less food and less water as the days go by. They weren't really,
Creepy.
yeah, they didn't know what was going to happen exactly, and the reactions were genuine. That was great.
Yep. They didn't even see the house either until it was presented in front of them.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you know the famous shot where you see only like half her face and tears and the boogers and all that snot, which like people make fun of all the time. Like, but like if you're in the cold,
Her nose
scared,
is just funny. I don't understand
yeah,
Right.
the problem,
yeah, and it was a mistake. It was supposed to be like an actual like full shot of her face, but she held the camera wrong and it accidentally became an iconic shot.
Yeah.
know? A lot of things come by accident, which is great.
I remember Dan and I would always talk about that movie when we came after seeing it.
Yeah. So what's the deal with that movie now? I mean, that movie was hugely popular, made a bunch of money. Is it nowadays people are saying that movie sucks?
Now,
Yeah.
I know it's got a cult following though. I think between when it came out and now, there was all these parodies, all these people making fun of it. But I think now I've actually seen a lot of people say that this is one of their favorite films. I think now it's gotten respect, I think. Look at all the garbage that comes out today.
Because like I think like once the hype, and it's one of those things like it got a lot of hype, and then like, of course, like naturally when something gets that much attention, it gets hated on like immediately after, and that's what happened to it like for a decade. Everybody like just it was getting popular. It'll be popular to hate. It was like a bandwagon. It happens all the time. It didn't deserve it. Like it was a well-made movie.
Yeah.
It's a
Great film.
it's still to this day my favorite found footage movie.
Yeah, well, like, when I saw that second time, 10 years later, that scene when they're in the tent and they hear the children laughing, like that shit creeped me out. Like if I was in that situation, I would be freaked out too.
And
I'm in the middle of nowhere in the forest.
I'm glad they never showed the witch either, because
That would have been stupid.
Yeah,
it makes it creepier. Like
Blair Witch 3.
Yeah.
I hate that movie. That movie sucks.
Is it called 3?
No, it's just called
Yeah,
Blair.
it's
Blair
called
Witch.
Blair Witch.
I remember thinking it was okay.
The last 15 minutes.
I've only seen it once, so
The last 15 minutes are pretty cool, but
The only good stuff about it is like the ending.
yeah,
You know, when the girl's like stuck in the what was
But
it, tunnel or
still-
something. That
but
was,
still they show the witch in there, and it's just
Yeah, that's dumb.
the story makes no sense.
It doesn't.
it is a movie. Honestly, I wouldn't mind watching it a second time just to.
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
watch it again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind.
Just watch Blair Witch 2.
Oh,
You know what though? To me, at least,
Blair Witch 2 and like one. I don't think I've ever walked out of a movie before, but I want to do. But Blair Witch 2.
to me, the movie is almost so bad. I can laugh at it because it's so bad. The acting's so bad in it.
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Remember nothing about.
All I remember from Blair Witch 2 is that it had Erica Learson from Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake.
Yeah, she was the Wiccan.
oh, that's right.
And then you had the goth chick, and then
There are 3 movies in my life that I saw in the theater where during the movie I was mad at the movie. It's Blair
And
Witch,
which one?
Ghostbusters, and Transformers Last Night. That I wasn't angry. I was disappointed.
because at the end you go, like, that was terrible.
I did.
Well, you can always tell when we hate a movie is when we look at each other and start laughing
Yeah.
at things. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sorry, we got off topic, but
yeah. Oh, that should be another show. Movies that made you mad the first time you saw them.
Well, those are my top 3 right there.
Yeah, I can give you a couple that pissed
But
me
that's for
off.
another show.
That's
Man of Steel.
Honorable mention is the mother.
Oh shit! I still haven't seen that movie.
Oh God.
But yeah, that's my number 5, The Blair Witch Project.
a great choice.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah,
choice.
that's a great man.
That's a great choice.
Actually, my favorite scene in the whole movie is when Mike says that he kicked the map out into the creek.
I kicked that goddamn map in that
I like when Josh is like,
Are you kidding?
I like when Josh is like, you guys find someone, tell them I'm under the tree with a vine.
You gotta be kidding me! You gotta be fucking kidding me!
What the fuck was that?
The map is useless, Heather. But yeah, Blair Witch Project. I still love this movie to this day.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
So yeah, Thomas, what's your number 5?
My number 5, like I said, my top 3 were pretty easy for me to make, but 4 and 5 were kind of tough ones, and I kind of eventually figured it out. My number 5 is a film from the 90s. It's from 92.
I know what it is.
Really?
Once you said the year, I can guess.
Do you guys know Robin Dan?
He's from the 90s?
You said 92.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll mention it.
ahead.
I'm going to bring it up. So it's directed by Bernard Rose.
Yeah, I know it. It's fucking Kenny, right?
Okay.
Wait, was that the first Candyman in 92?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
1980.
Really? Okay.
Yep, my number 5 is Candyman.
I just rewatched that on Netflix last week. It holds up.
Yeah, it's on Netflix, man.
Yeah, it's on Netflix now.
I can't really see that, but there's the original artwork.
The original cover, yeah.
I actually have the poster in my room. That's how much I love the movie.
But
But
then again, you got like 7 posters of Suicide Squad. I forgot to mention that in the DCU show. Thomas has fucking 7 posters of Suicide Squad. What the
Oh, yeah.
hell?
I have those just because I like the posters. I think they're pretty colorful.
And you name that your worst. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But anyways, Candyman had to have been my number 5 because it was really one of those first horror films that really creeped me out really badly. Because I know Rob has been to Philadelphia before, but I don't know, Rob, were you ever inside 30th Street Station?
I don't think so.
You know,
Yeah, but
I went by there, but I don't think.
but Candyman takes place in Chicago, though.
No, I'm saying like this is what I'm going to get to. It's like 30th Street Station in Philly had these big public restrooms that kind of reminded me of Candyman.
Ah, okay.
So it's kind of like I remember seeing the bathroom scene when I was younger in Candyman, and then when I went on a train trip with my with a family member of mine, I went into the bathroom to go to the bathroom, and I remember like I got so creeped out because I remember the bathroom scene in Candyman. So it kind of related to me a lot because it was really one of those first films that creeped me out. And Tony Todd as the Candyman himself was just so perfect casting. Yeah, Tony Todd had that voice that was booming. It filled the room up. You can tell he was present. Be my victim and all that stuff. I mean, and just Tony Todd just played the role so perfectly. And I remember a little backstory behind the scenes of the movie. The original idea was not going to be Tony Todd. Eddie Murphy wanted to be Candyman.
Yeah, because he was a big name.
Wow, I wonder how that would have turned out.
The main reason why Eddie Murphy wanted to be Candyman was because he wanted to venture into horror films, and then he eventually
That didn't work out.
Then he worked with Wes Craven on Vampire in Brooklyn. Look how that turned out.
Yeah.
But because I know he was a big fan of The Serpent and the Rainbow, that's why he wanted to do a horror movie. But they eventually said no, Eddie Murphy, and they got Tony Todd instead, which I'm glad they did. Got better.
Good
But if don't know, if people out there don't know Candyman, it's about Virginia Madsen, who plays as a student who's investigating or who wants to write a paper on urban legend.
Thesis, yeah.
Yeah. So she hears about this urban legend called the Candyman, and basically the Candyman was the son of a slave who basically there's like and I think they show more about this in the second movie where he got his hand cut off and they smeared honey all over him, and then the bees came and killed him, and things like that. You get more of that backstory in part 2, and on top of that too, like when you read up like some of the stuff behind the scenes of the movie, like what they actually shot, because they shot it in Chicago and they shot it in the projects, and you hear all kinds of stories about, like, I think it was one of their film vans got a couple of bullet holes, and they had to get out of there very, very quickly because it was like in the worst project area in Chicago. Yeah. And on top of that too, like there were so many great scenes in the movie, especially, you know, whenever bees came out of Tony Todd, it always creeped me out. Because like when the bees came out of his mouth and things like that. And I talked to Tony Todd about that.
I have a phobia with bees, so yeah, that scene gets to me.
The thing is with me, I'm a big insect phobia guy myself. I can't stand bugs. So especially bees, I don't like the way they buzz. Like I had like when they buzz by my ear and all that stuff. It gives me goosebumps. So I remember talking to Tony Todd, and I think people asked him this question before, but he was like, you know, how was it like having like actual bees? And he was like, oh, it hurt like hell because he got stung a couple times, like in the mouth and all that stuff. And I remember he got paid like every single sting he got paid like $1,000 or something. But even if I got offered money for that, I would never have done that. I mean, I just cannot have bees.
No way.
And the fact that that was actually like real bees, that's what makes it even more creepier. It's not CGI. It's not practical effects. It was actually real bees.
Yeah.
And on top of that too, it's just like and I really like the whole idea of the urban legend of the Candyman. A really creepy background character. Just Tony Todd plays him perfectly. I love the whole hook hand and things like that. I mean, Candyman is just whenever I think of like 90s horror films, Candyman is always like one of the top ones I always think of, up there with Scream and, you know, things like that. When I think of 90s horror, like I always mention Candyman and Scream as like the top two. Candyman is great. The sequels I wasn't too big of a fan of. Candyman 2 was all right. Candyman 3, forget about it. But
you're looking forward to the new one.
I am, yeah, because Tony Todd is actually going to be in the movie. So
they haven't really said how though. They're kind of keeping it secret.
Is it a remake?
It's a sequel.
And with Jordan Peele behind it, I'm pretty interested in seeing what he's going to do. Yeah,
I'll give him the benefit.
But yeah, Candyman, I mean, fantastic. I mean,
they're filming it right now in Chicago.
Be a sequel to Us and Get Out too.
It's all like the Jordan Peele universe.
Yeah, they got the guy who was Black Manta and Aquaman.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah, but I don't think I can say more about Candyman. I mean, it says for itself, it's a classic.
What I liked about Candyman is how the first one, how it's like it's like an urban legend, and you don't know if he's actually real or not throughout the whole film.
Yeah,
I like how they portrayed that in the film. Like, is it all in Helen's head? Is she imagining this, or is he actually?
That's even creepier.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch that movie. I only saw it once when it first came out, and I don't really remember much about it. So
it's good. Yeah.
I have seen it though.
I discovered that movie for the first time because of that Boogeyman collection movie.
Boogeyman.
Yeah. That's when I first introduced to Canyon. I was like, oh, that's cool.
That was a cool DVD. You gotta.
Yeah.
It sure was Chrome.
Yeah, I first discovered Candyman and that what I wouldn't even call it documentary. It's just like kind of like a clip show, I guess. Clip documentary.
Did you find that
Candyman and Wishmaster? Like,
did you find that hidden Easter egg on that DVD?
I never saw it on DVD. I saw it on VHS when there was.
Oh, yeah. The DVD had an Easter egg, a hidden feature. It showed a clip from Jack Frost.
Wow.
Okay,
so then I wasn't missing much.
Well, it was a nude scene.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the Shannon Elizabeth scene?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, from Jack Frost. It was the scene, some girl swimming in a pool.
That's the second one. That's the second one.
Okay, that was the hidden Easter egg.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I seen that one already before it was Hell Boogeyman. Yeah. Those movies are terrible.
What do you have against Michael Keaton?
No, I like that version better. I like
That's
that one.
actually one of my. I think it's pretty underrated. Pretty underrated. Michael
I used to
Keaton.
see that the Michael Keaton Jack Frost a lot when I was a kid.
Well, the thing is, I feel like Michael Keaton Jack Frost has a good heart to it.
Yeah,
It's a sweet.
it's not great or anything, but I
I think it's a sweet story.
I know
Yeah,
we're getting
it's-
off. I hated that Jack Frost Michael Keaton movie.
really.
I was like, I'm like, how is this even like possible? I'm like, I can't believe they're trying to play this off as like a real thing. Like I don't know.
Well,
Just-
it's a fantasy. Yeah.
like when he was at was it like some kind of baseball game or skiing or something? And like,
Hockey game, yeah.
I'm just like, but like everyone was standing there like, oh yeah, this is normal. Like all the people around them.
Oh, you mean the snowball fight scene?
Whatever scene it was where there was a bunch of people involved and like they were just like, oh yeah, there's a talking snowman. Like nothing.
No, the snowball scene is the only one I can think of that you're talking
What?
about. The snowball fight scene.
Maybe I just don't
When
remember.
the son from the bully.
There was a scene where Charlie was.
Oh wait, I think you're talking about when they're skiing down the fucking hill. They're skiing
Like,
down.
they were acting like, oh my god, like a talking snowman. Like everyone was just like,
Yeah.
What, you've never seen one before?
It's a movie.
I see them all the time.
Does.
Yeah. And I used to watch that movie a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
maybe I was too old by that point.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, yeah,
I
Chuck
believe-
actually.
You're probably thinking, why isn't he Batman again? What's this Jack Frost bullshit? But yeah, Kenny, man, that's a great pick.
Great movie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the new one.
Yeah.
Are you guys looking forward to the?
Sure, yeah.
I mean, I'll see it for sure, but
It's just like yeah. They're keeping it a secret. It's interesting.
I can't wait for Halloween Kills.
Huh?
For real? Oh.
I can't wait for Halloween Kills
Yeah, that's gonna be killer.
and Halloween Ends.
I'm like,
Halloween Crabs.
I gotta admit, those are stupid titles, man. Yeah. Whatever.
Halloween Socks.
Can you do that?
Yeah. But yeah, that was the number 5. I picked Blair Witch Project. Thomas picked Candyman.
Candyman.
Rob picked The Descent, and
And
Dan
Dan
picked
was you hit.
It.
It-
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
It told
Those are all good picks.
Yeah, that's a good round. So let's go on to number 4.
Number 4.
Who wants to go first with number 4?
I'll go first.
Okay,
Let's
you go.
go auto order. Whatever.
You
This
go
one's
first.
gonna be surprising to you guys because
Okay.
it's a newer film.
It's a newer film. Okay.
Yeah, and you guys mentioned this director just like right now, like a minute ago. Jordan Peele's Get Out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Again, like it's not. I would consider Blair Witch Project more creepy, but Get Out, the story, I loved it so much,
It's so original. That's
Yeah.
what was.
It is a
great.
cool idea.
and it blew me away. Like it blew me, it blew me away because I paused after I said it blew me away.
I was about to say who blew you?
Yeah, the movie did. Yeah. But yeah, because I had no expectations. So like, oh, Jordan Peele, the comedian's making a horror movie. What is this? But yeah, like wow, I was surprised how great it was.
It's a great choice.
Yeah, all the actors did really good, except for the actor who played the brother, Caleb Banshee from X-Men First Class.
And he was also
He was kind of. I feel he's kind of miscast.
and he was also he was also the brother in Last Exorcism.
Yeah. He's a good actor, but I just felt he's kind of like his acting wasn't really on par.
I kind of feel like he'd be a really good Joker.
Okay, we have enough Jokers already.
I think Jared Leto would make a good Joker.
So we thought. But yeah, all the actors did great, and Get Out. The story.
Best character in the movie was Rod.
Rod, yeah, he brought the.
He was great. He was great.
Comedic relief, yeah.
He was great.
It was a great theater experience, and I was surprised by the ending. I thought it was gonna be a downbeat ending.
I know.
But once he spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen Get Out, Rodney, the best friend, he comes to the rescue at the very end. And then when that happened, I thought it was like at first I thought it was the cops like, oh damn it.
Well, that was
early in the movie.
Oh, yeah, you do know that the original ending had him
Yes.
going to jail.
What do you think of that?
it
I
sucked.
no, look, I won't go as far as sucked, but
Well,
I get why he would end it like that. But I think and Jordan Peele mentioned it, like the reason why he changed it, he felt like, okay, this character goes through hell. It's unfair to not have him win at the end. Like that,
And it'll go through even more hell in prison.
yeah.
But I think they also did some test screenings that I don't think people liked.
Well, yeah, he did press screen the original ending, and then people were like, "Can you change it?"
Yeah, that's the one thing. One of the things, like, if your ending is not satisfying,
There's also a third ending they almost went with too.
I don't know. I've never heard of the third ending.
Yeah, there's actually another. You can find the information online.
But it wasn't filmed or anything.
No, it wasn't filmed. It was actually an idea Jordan Peele had, but it wasn't like on the DVD or anything like that. But
Okay.
it was Rod gets there. Like the cops don't show up or anything like that. Rod shows up and he breaks into the estate and he looks through the window and he says, like, Chris, like, I'm over here. I'm here to help you out. And then Chris looks over him and says, "Who are you talking to?"
Basically,
That would have been
So-
dumb.
Basically, they transplanted his brain already, basically. So it was
See, I
another.
would have hated that. Would have been a shitty ending.
Yeah, it would.
But like, yeah, like when I first saw it, like I expected the cops to show up once I saw the lights. Like, oh no! And then when Raj showed up, like, yes! Everybody cheered. Like, yes.
That was how my theater experience. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah,
my
Get Out, like,
experience was like that too. I remember like when you heard the cop sirens show up and then he like looks up, like you couldn't hear a pin drop in my fucking theater. Like it went dead silent.
I heard
And
I heard a couple of like, oh no's.
at first when I saw the cop, I thought it was that cop that was in the beginning.
Yes,
I
me too. I did
Yep.
the same thing.
And then as soon as you saw the airport sign on the car, people were like, "Yeah!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
TS motherfucking A.
I didn't see that one in the theater. Actually, you showed me that movie. But yeah, and then
Oh, that's a great movie to see in the theater.
Yeah, it was.
after I watched it, I actually showed my wife, and she loved that movie. She thought that movie was great.
Yeah, me and my mother saw that together, and
I saw that one with my dad, and he doesn't really. Since he's older now, if the movie's not that exciting, he doze off a bit. But Get Out, he was into it from the beginning, all the way to the end. And I asked him like, why this one and not some other movies we watch? He's like, the story was really good. It intrigued him. Like, yeah, the racism story. It's that kind of movie. Which if amateur filmmaker does a story like that, it could come off really bad.
Yeah.
But luckily, Jordan Peele's talented more than we thought.
And it earned an Academy Award nomination too.
It did. He won for Best Original Screenplay.
Yep.
And now he gets to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Hey, put on Jordan Peele. He deserved that.
And just this is not going to be an honorable mentions, but I will mention this right now. I did really like Us, his second
I
film.
did, yeah.
Not as much as Get Out, but
No.
on multiple viewings, I've enjoyed it more. But it's still a solid film, and I'm looking forward to what he does next.
Yeah, I really am too. So that's a great choice, Alex. That's a really good choice.
Get Out.
Yeah.
A little bit of recent.
But one thing though, they didn't rescue the other guy that has brain transplant.
Oh,
The one that was at the party.
Oh yeah, Lakeith Stanfield. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still out there somewhere. So if they want to make a sequel, which I don't think they should, but
What was his name? Logan.
Logan King.
I don't think that's good.
Well, you gotta think.
Funny thing too, my theater.
There's
Funny-
many more people besides that guy, so it's not just one other guy that didn't get rescued. It's
And
like
who
a
knows-
bunch of guys.
And who knows if that family that does the brain transplants, like who knows if the organization's bigger than that?
They could
Right.
have people overseas doing it.
Yeah,
too.
that's why they had the Asian guy in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He mentioned that Jordan Peele mentioned that when he was in Bobby Lee's podcast, he mentioned like, oh, he brought that up. He's like, yeah, because I wanted to show like this is going overseas as well. This organization. So if Jordan Peele decides to make a sequel, he can go to that. But I prefer he won't because I like that standalone. Just
Someone
keep it that
else
way.
will probably pick it
And
up.
it ends on a great note too.
Don't make a
If any-
sequel for the sake of making a sequel.
If anything, Jordan Peele will probably be like a producer and someone else will direct it.
You know,
That's
I also heard there was another like whole different like third act in Get Out too.
I
I heard
I was shocked that Rose was in on it the whole time.
I heard like the other third act they would have went with is that Rod would have showed up there and him and Chris would have killed the family together. Which that would have been cool, but
Fine, but I like that it's Chris. It's his story, so it makes more sense.
it's him by himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it would have been too comedic. If
Yeah,
had
maybe.
Rod in there with the action in the third act.
Yeah.
Which that's something that a lot of people have an issue with us. That it had a little too much comedy in certain scenes. It didn't bother me too much, but like I see what they're coming from.
Not to go off topic, but I thought they should have just stuck with the family instead of doing the whole world or the whole area. I think to me it was kind of more. I want to say it was too big for its own good. Like I thought they should have stuck smaller. And
Too
I think that,
too overly ambitious.
well, yeah, because I don't know. There's just certain things that don't.
No, I know what you're saying. I think to generalize it, it would be. I feel like it was.
Too convoluted.
I just had it in my head. The story that was laid out was too complex.
Too convoluted.
I don't know if I'd say convoluted. It caused too many questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was fine with it, honestly.
I feel like this is what I was gonna say, and I just thought of it. The execution of the ideas weren't as solid as they could have been. Would be how I would say.
Okay. All right. I see what you're saying.
It still wasn't a bad movie though. I mean,
Yeah,
good.
Get Out still though. Yeah, that's all.
yeah. That was the moment before Get Out. So I don't know. Any of you guys can go next.
I guess I'll go next. My number 4 is another film that I love. It's from the 70s. I'm not going to say the year. It's from the 70s. I'll just say that so that way I don't ruin anything because I kind of did with Candyman. But it's a horror film from the 70s. It was really one of the first film. This was another film that creeped me out a lot. And of course, I think it's a pretty self-explanatory one. It's by Tobe Hooper.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original classic from 1974, and you can tell it's signed
But the late Gunnar Hansen.
by Gunnar Hansen.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He wrote "You're Next," Gunnar Hansen.
Ha. He never got you though.
No, he didn't. But the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I love. I know Rob is also a really big fan of the movie as well. Every single, like a lot of his videos I've seen from like the past and like the newer videos, like nowadays, he always talks about Texas Chainsaw Massacre and he loves it to death. And I can't disagree with that. I mean, it's a great movie. In my opinion, it's Tobe Hooper's masterpiece. It really is. And on top of that too, there's a lot of people from the original Chainsaw Massacre that are no longer with us anymore. Tobe Hooper's no longer with us. Marilyn Burns ain't with us anymore. Paul Pertain's no longer with us. Gunnar Hansen's no longer with us anymore either. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that have passed away from this movie. And this movie in general is just great. It's a great 70s horror film. It was really one of the first, slasher movies that kind of started the boom because you have Black Christmas in the same year as this. And that would eventually lead to films like, Friday the 13th or Prom Night or Halloween or things like that. And I mean, if you don't know, people who don't know the story about the original Chainsaw Massacre, it's about a bunch of kids traveling through Texas to pick up a hitchhiker, and that they're investigating this property that they own, and it happens to be next door to the Sawyer family.
Yeah, you're the Hewitt.
Hewitt, yeah, because I was thinking of the remake.
Because you're looking at the names right now.
And just the cast in general does a great job. I mean, the family, Gunnar Hansen is the true Leatherface. He always will be Leatherface to me. I miss Gunnar Hansen a lot. I was really glad I got to meet him a year before he passed away. So that was cool. That was just cool to witness. It was pretty good price too to meet him. It was like $30. Not bad at all for Gunnar Hansen. He's a pretty big horror name.
And he didn't put you in a hook or anything like that.
No,
he hit you with the hammer and nothing like that.
And of course, Jim Seedow is the cook. He's no longer with us anymore.
Yes.
He's great. You have John Dugan, his grandpa. He does a great job. And
he actually makes a movie for me, Jim Seedow. He's great as the cook. Yeah.
And then, of course, you have Edwin Neal as the hitchhiker. He's fantastic.
Yeah, he comes back. James comes back for the second movie, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, but basically they start getting picked off one by one by the family. And just that whole third act with Sally being trapped in the dinner table scene.
That's messed up. Like, it's like psychological torture.
Yeah. And it was all because of her that she the way she performed. I mean,
yeah.
We got Crazy Joe in the chat here, Alex.
Yeah, I know. I see him. Hey,
Crazy Joe. Crazy Joe.
Crazy Joe, yeah.
The edgelord of Facebook.
But and there's just so many great scenes in the movie. You know, girl getting put on the meat hook. Especially if that one guy gets hit over the head with the hammer.
That door always scared the hell out of me with the skulls. And then when he drags the dude in there and he shuts that sliding aluminum looking door, always I've had nightmares about that thing. I don't know what it was about it.
And yeah, it's just, and you know, Tobe Hooper did such a great job with the direction of the movie. It's a really definite 70s vibe. You can definitely tell it was in the 70s. Like, that's what I love about the film. It's really 70s. Like the clothes they're wearing, all the topics they're talking about, it's all 70s. And
I'm sorry, but I hate Franklin. I hate that character so much.
I don't think I'll be able to take it.
Have you ever been by a slaughterhouse?
So the three scenes I like with him is when he falls off a wheelchair while he's trying to pee. When he falls off the hill, I like that part. Hilarious. When the hitchhiker slices his arm, I like that. And when Leatherface kills him, I like that.
That was actually, you know, one of those jump.
He's so annoying. I'm sorry. I hate that character so much.
Yeah, I'll go with you. Just wait a minute. I'll go with you.
That seems very like, shut the fuck up.
Well, that's your daddy's place. Yo, yeah, my daddy owns it.
House. That was actually one of those jump scares that got me when Leatherface kills Frank. I'm like, oh shit.
I was like, yes.
Hey, okay, let's just point this out right now. That movie proves you don't need guts and gore to.
That's true. And it's weird, like, because before I saw the movie, I always heard how like violent it was, how gory it was, like, and when I said, like, wait a minute, this don't show that much blood. It's just like all psychological. It's on your head.
It don't show anything. When Leatherface is cutting that dude up on the table,
you don't see it.
Anything.
Yeah, that's what makes it more scarier.
Yeah,
in fact, you don't see it.
But and also too, I remember like the first time I ever saw this movie was actually my freshman year of high school, and I remember I actually bought this DVD I showed here.
Yeah.
Apparently, I've heard it's out of print now and goes for a lot of money.
That's fortunate.
But I remember I got this thing at Best Buy for like $15, and
that one's out of print, the Pioneer Edition.
Yeah,
why is it out of print though?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah, well, this is a really good DVD to have. I mean, just look at all these features. You have a commentary, you have 2 commentaries, you have the making of 2 making of documentaries. You have a tour of the house with Gunnar Hansen, bloopers, deleted scenes, and outtakes. I mean, it's a lot of good stuff on the movie. Really good documentaries and
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened behind the scenes. While making the movie.
yeah. The tour of the house with Gunnar Hansen is really cool to watch.
Like it was like all the actors and the crew members always. It was a grueling experience. It was super hot and they felt like they were dying and everything.
And I remember, like, I was sleeping over at my buddy's house that weekend night. It was on a Friday night, and we went to Best Buy first. I think my friend's dad had to pick a TV up or something like that, and I bought Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I remember he was like, "We can watch that tonight." So we actually ordered pizza that night, and we watched the movie. And I remember
pizza what? Pizza Part 4.
It's kind of things apart. But I remember like when the whole ending happened, like the whole ending with him when he's swinging the chainsaw around, and then all of a sudden it just like stops, and then the credits start rolling.
That sound effect.
I want to know something. I know you probably remember this too. When that truck driver throws the wrench at Leatherface, where the hell is that truck driver running to?
Yeah, where the hell?
You see this faraway shot. Here's the truck driver. He just starts running, and that's it. Sally gets away in the vehicle, but where the hell is the truck driver?
I don't know. And he was the hero technically.
Yeah, I mean
He ran over the hitmaker.
Oh, but
Yeah, and he threw the hammer at Leatherface and made Leatherface cut his leg.
I just thought it was funny.
It's kind of funny, like
And I remember like that when how it just like abruptly ended when he's swinging the chainsaw, and then
that sound effect.
He threw a knip,
and then the credits start rolling out.
Yeah, he's a baby.
Kind of like we looked over at each other. We were like, "What the hell did we watch?"
Yeah, but like in a good way though.
It was really,
door.
it was really effective. It really was an effective movie. I mean, I can go on and on, but I don't want to repeat myself. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a great movie. I mean, it's a great 70s movie, and it easily had to have been in my top 5. Had to be.
Yeah, when people talk about slasher films, sometimes they don't mention that one. Like that's kind of kickstarted a bit.
It is.
It had the use of a mask. You know,
it goes Psycho, then Halloween. They Black Christmas, but they don't talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Like Black Christmas was the one that started the holiday kind of like theme.
Yeah.
And Chainsaw Massacre, I look at it as like the mask because the Leatherface and the weapon. He has a signature weapon. It's the chainsaw. Every of these slasher films have a signature weapon, and those are the ones that really started it. Michael Bay.
True.
Yeah, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre had to have been my number 4.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
Good.
it is.
Yeah, nice choice.
You can go next. I'm
Frank can go to hell.
All right, so
No disrespect to the actor, Pesto. I'm not talking about the actor. I'm just talking about the character.
So what do you got, Dan, for number 4?
Go ahead.
okay, so number 4 is a movie. I forget what year it was. I want to say it was in the either late '90s or early 2000s. It was a movie that Bob and I saw during the day in the theater, and I still feel it holds up. And it is The Ring, the American.
Oh.
All right.
I just remember. So we saw that in the theater. And I hadn't seen the Japanese version. I know that version gets a lot of praise as well. And but I
Yeah,
knew.
Yeah. I never saw the Japanese version either.
You
Okay.
never seen it?
No, I never saw the Japanese version.
It's good, but it's not. I don't know. I don't think it's anything really that
I
special.
saw the
I will
Japanese
say, to be honest,
version of
for
The
me-
Eye. I didn't see the original Ring though.
to me, honestly, the best parts of both versions is the opening. For me,
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not the biggest fan of both films, but go ahead.
So go ahead.
Yeah. So that was the movie. So did you guys know what year it was? I just don't
2002.
remember.
2002.
Yeah. So we saw that during the day, which is just, I think back then we would just go to movies whenever. But like, I remember the theater was not full because it was like during the day. And I just remember there was a couple times when we were watching the movie that I felt somebody was watching me from behind. It was really weird. It was like that movie gave me the creeps, and I would look, turn around, and there was like no one there.
It was tomorrow.
Tell me who.
It would be creepy if it was a little girl.
Yeah, it's like that song. Tell me who's watching.
Yeah.
Even at that time, that movie was original. Even though we didn't know about the Japanese thing,
Right.
that movie was in its own style. It was something we've never experienced.
Yeah, and it was what I liked about it was the story. It was like a detective drama in a sense. Like you were trying to figure out why this stuff was happening, and she's going around, and it was very well directed. And it's funny because, like I said, we saw it during the day, so we get home, and we saw it was like 11 a.m. I think is when we saw the show. So the rest of the day, I didn't even think about it. And I remember when I went to bed that night, I lay down, and when I closed my eyes, all I could see was that video repeat in my head.
Wow.
And I just remember sitting there just being like, man, that affected me. I just was like, that was just, it was a unique type of movie. And the more I watched it, the more I appreciated it. And it was, again, I got to give credit to how the cinematography and the directing, it was just really well done. It wasn't like a typical simple horror movie. It had a lot of substance to it, I felt. So,
Do you remember who directed it?
Sorry?
Do you remember who directed it?
I don't know.
It was Gore Verbinski.
The guy that did
Pirates movies.
Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he directed that.
Yeah.
Naomi Watts was good in it.
Brian Cox.
Yeah, Brian Cox, he's always great. And then
When I first saw the trailer to The Ring, I thought that was Nicole Kidman.
oh really?
Well, it looks like.
She kind of does. Yeah.
Wasn't it Rory Culkin was the boy? I think it was Macaulay Culkin.
No, Rory Culkin.
It wasn't. It was it starts with an A, I think.
No, that wasn't Rory. You're thinking of Signs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it was a Culkin though.
No, it wasn't.
All right, I'll look it up.
Are you talking about In the Ring?
Yeah, he's done with The Ring.
I'll look it up for you.
The kid was not Culkin.
Well, hey.
He has that feature though, like kind of like that.
Yeah.
Deadpan stares.
Well, in the movie theater when like you were saying, like when there's that really quick shot of the girl in the closet and she's like, remember her head falls down, like that was like just like a I wouldn't even call that a jump scare. It was just like the way it was cut, you just weren't expecting it. You're just like, holy crap. And then like when she came out of the TV at the end, I was like, holy shit. Like I did not see that coming.
Hey, I want to tell you guys something. You know those videos I do with the cemetery in the forest down there?
Yeah.
Right. There's a part down there where there's a sewer manhole, and it's surrounded by forest. And I always, after seeing this movie, I'd always have like this recurring dream of that actually being, because it's a sewer manhole, but in the dream it was like a well, and I would always think about that. Like, oh my God, she's coming for me. Like all she has to do is walk down here, and that's it.
Well, then you get the symbolism. Like I couldn't believe it in the theater. Like when they show the flashback when she's thrown down there, and then the cover's going over the well, and that is the circle.
The ring, yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. I was like, all right, that's
because
cool.
we're like, what's the ring?
Right.
What does that mean?
So, man, mad props to that movie for me. That's my number 4.
That's a good one, yeah.
A great movie.
I think I'm the only one in the show that I'm not the biggest fan. I don't hate it. I just like, I wasn't really into it, really.
Oh, so you don't care for it?
No, not really. It's just kind of there for me.
On top of that too, when they give this.
Bye, Chucky Doll. Chucky Doll's leaving.
Oh, see you later, Chucky Doll.
Thanks for stopping by.
Wanted to mention too, Gore Verbinski recently did A Cure for Wellness, actually too.
Yeah,
I actually like that one.
You know what's funny? I was kind of a hater of The Ring before I even saw it, because I always thought like the previews to like scariest movie of all time, scariest movie. I was like, yeah, right. I was a very contrarian, kind of. But like when I finally saw it, I was like, oh, it wasn't bad. It's just like, wasn't really my thing. I don't know. And I did see it like again, like years later, and I still didn't really love it. Like the whole like Japanese horror, like I'm not really into it really.
Yeah, because there's one for the Grudge, which is
Grudge.
or whatever. Then there's
Oh yeah, see, The Grudge came out right after The Ring. It was like the same year, and I remember. I mean, I did like.
That was a year later.
Okay, I liked The Grudge, but I liked The Ring better.
the Grudge 2. I think it's better. I like the Grudge 2.
The Grudge 2.
Yeah.
By the way, it was not a Culkin.
See, I told you.
You were right. It was
It was his third cousin.
David Dorfman.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Dorfman. That's right.
I will say though, the performances are good in the movie. Like I have no beef with that. I just like the story. I wasn't really that into it.
What would you give it out of 10? Out of curiosity.
Probably like a 6.
Oh, okay.
That's,
So
the
just
highest,
okay.
that's the highest I would have been. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the good.
Okay, so my number 4 has already been picked. It is the Blair Witch Project, of course.
Yes.
What more can I really say about it? Yeah, one of the creepiest films ever made. I will agree with Alex, like the scene that, man, the tent scene where they run out and hear the baby crying and like that kind of stuff like that will always tense for me.
Yeah. Because what I like about that scene is they turn the camera on and it's all foggy because it's early morning or whatever. The temperature is making it. Was there like mist in the air?
Yeah.
Remember, like you
Yeah.
see, Mike is sitting there like groggy. Like he's like, what's going on? Like, yeah, the setup for that. Like I'm getting
Me too.
goosebumps just
Me
thinking
too.
about that.
There's a really interesting documentary on here called Curse of the Blair Witch.
Yes.
It goes over the whole mythology of how Ellie Kedward, what they did to her, how she became the Blair Witch before all that happened, and then after all that happened. And you have these actors who are acting like real people, but they do such a good job, and I believe it. Whenever I watch, I'm like, oh my god, like the sheriff, he's being interviewed. He's like, yeah, we've looked around for the bodies of Heather, Mike, and Josh, and we didn't find anything. It's a really cool like documentary if you haven't seen it.
I remember seeing that one. Yeah.
But yeah, what more can I say? It's amazing.
And that's the thing I forgot to mention. This was the first movie ever used the internet with marketing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
From my understanding, I remember, and I don't think I'm wrong, but the first month that movie came out, they were I mean, Alex kind of touched on it a little bit, but I think people were like, this was real.
And it's funny, no one remembers Heather Donahue from the Steak and Shake commercial.
No, because she probably looked a little bit different.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
saying,
But it wasn't until like a month or two later after the movie had already made a bunch of money that they were like, oh yeah, this is not real.
Yeah, they had her appear in a talk show. Or something.
and that's the thing that bothers me too is some people are like, well, it wasn't real, so it's not good. It's like that's the stupidest
Yeah.
excuse I've ever heard.
Because we saw it, we knew it. We knew it wasn't real.
When we saw it, yeah, we knew. But if we had to have known, I would have looked at that and said, wow. That's so realistic, like it's real.
Yeah, it didn't matter to us.
And when you watch Cannibal Holocaust, all that stuff looks real as hell, and they actually got in trouble for that.
Yeah.
They did.
And look at that. I mean, if I would have known anything about it, I would have been like, oh my god, that's real.
Yeah.
That's so real. But I don't know how you can just say like, oh, it's not, the movie's not good because it's turned out to be real.
And on top of that, too, like compared to like some of the found footage movies that come out nowadays, Blair Witch is a masterpiece compared to any one that comes out nowadays.
Yeah. Nothing has ever come close, in my opinion.
Look at all the parodies. I mean, they even made a porn called The Erotic Witch Project.
Yeah.
And
They-
they also made one with Pauly Shore, too.
Yeah.
Look at what does that tell you? Like it went overboard with a lot of the story that they told. They went overboard with like trying to parody it because they like, oh wow, this movie is so popular.
It was a hit. Like I think it was. I don't think originally. I think people did love it. I think somewhere down the line started to say, "Oh, that movie." Because I think when it came out,
Yeah.
everyone really liked it.
It was the most profitable film until Paranormal Activity because the budget was so low.
This movie is so much better than Paranormal Activity.
Even though I love first Paranormal
I like
Activity.
it. I like the first
Wow.
one. Close.
I actually hate all of them.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny if the Blair Witch Project was real, then that's a snuff film. Then okay. So it's
Yeah, it's
unless
I
you're
don't-
naive or just stupid, why would you think it's real?
why would they release them? Why would they release it as a movie? The think of the family of the victims. They'd be like, no.
Yeah, the family members were getting calls and letters like, "Oh, we're so sorry. We're so sorry that that you lost your loved ones." And like, no, they're alive. It's just a movie.
You're seeing the movie dying.
Yeah.
I should be like, yeah, send me money.
They're like, but like, another thing I don't like, I get annoyed when people say like, "Oh, anybody could have done that movie."
Well, then go do it.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, and then go do it. I have it. It's just you need a camera and a few actors. Yeah. But yeah, that's
Go
good.
do
Great pick.
It's a great pick, Rob. It's a really good pick.
All right. Did everybody say number 4 is?
Yeah, I was Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, I picked Get Out and Bob picked Blair Witch Project.
What was your pick? What was your pick again, Alex?
Get Out.
Get Out. Okay, that's right. And Dan was The Ring. All right.
Yep.
All right. So I guess we'll move on to number 3 then.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first for number 3?
You guys, I went first on number 4.
Thomas hasn't.
No, I think I guess I'll go first then. Let me just get it right here. Number 3 has already been mentioned before.
Nice. Yeah.
Holy crap! You guys all picked Blair Witch. That's awesome.
Yeah. So my number 3 is the Blair Witch Project.
That was an honorable mention of mine. I'm just gonna throw that.
Ah! Wait.
Yeah, but Alex and Rob have pretty much already said what I think about the Blair Witch Project. I mean, it's a great movie. It's one of my favorite films of all time. It's one of my favorite horror films of all time. I love the 3 characters of Heather, Mike, and Josh. Just really relatable. You really feel like you're there with them. And it's it's like whenever I go whenever I'm going on rides in the car, and like sometimes like along this stretch of highway, we'd always pass these woods, and I would always think I was always go back to the Blair Witch Project.
Yes,
I remember too. This film was so popular back in like 99, 2000 on pay-per-view, back when I had pay-per-view back in the day. And I remember
I
seeing
can't remember that.
yeah. This was around this time when I was seeing like trailers for like the Blair Witch on pay-per-view. I was seeing a lot of trailers from like 99, 2000 that I remember from my childhood. Like
Phantom Menace.
No, it was a lot of like
Star Wars coming soon. Star Wars show coming soon. Maybe.
I remember seeing like trailers for like around this like era of 99, 2000. I was seeing trailers on pay-per-view for like Blair Witch Project, Stir of Echoes, or Deep Blue Sea,
Makes
or
sense.
The Mummy. That's another one I always saw a lot when I was a kid. And there's a lot of like horror films from like 99, 2000 around that era. And the Blair Witch Project, I remember seeing for the first time. I think I was like maybe like 13 or 14. I was a teenager when I first saw the movie. I think it was in 8th grade and freshman year of high school. And I fell in love with the movie. I know I heard a lot about the legend of the Blair Witch Project, about the legacy of the Blair Witch. And even though it was not a real movie, I still felt like it was really effective because the way that the 3 actors pulled it off, it was really relatable. You felt like you were there with them. And it was a creepy idea. Like, imagine yourself being out there in the woods with you're running short on food and water, and you have no idea where you're at. And on top of that, too, they mentioned, like Rob and Alex have already mentioned the creepy scenes, especially I think Rob brought this up about when they're in the tent and then they hear the children laughing and things like that. And on top of that, too, like the scene where they find the symbol of the Blair Witch and like these branches.
The sticks, yes.
Yeah, the sticks. And on top of that, and of course, at the very end, when they're inside that like I guess like stone looking shack house that looking thing, and then you see like Josh like standing in the. I think it was Michael.
That was Mike.
Yeah, it was Michael standing in the corner, and she didn't know what was going on with Michael, and then the camera just falls and things like that. I mean, I can go on about the Blair Witch. I mean,
I always thought it was creepy when Josh, you hear him screaming like in the distance, like you hear him being like,
Josh.
Josh.
I mean, well then, I like how every night it progresses. Like every night you hear sticks snapping, and then the next night you'll hear footsteps. Like there's every night it gets worse. It seems like.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and
Josh.
yeah. And on top of that too, what's funny is like whenever I see like in this scene on the
It's a prank, bro.
on this scene here on the poster, like this shot here,
Yes.
it's kind of funny seeing that because I think of the first Scary Movie when they parodied the Blair Witch, which I thought was hilarious. And it's a great shot of Heather saying like talking to her family members through the camera. It's creepy. You feel sorry for Heather and things like that. And
no.
And I know that these three do conventions now.
What do you think they're talking about?
But yeah, I mean, Alex and Rob have pretty much already mentioned all the stuff I could say about the Blair Witch Project. It's a great movie, and it deserves to be on my top 5. I love the Blair Witch.
And yes, since we love Blair Witch so much, Blair Witch Project, we should write the screenplay for Blair Witch 4. How about that?
We should.
Let's do Blair Witch 4.
I have an idea on how they can make a sequel to Blair Witch, a good one.
Let's ignore 2 and 3 and just do a straight sequel.
In my head, I would have Josh, Mike, and Heather be in the movie as not sort of like apparitions, but as someone seeing something, but have them be in their original attire and stuff like I in my mind, I just have this like creepy idea.
Should it take place like right after or like years before?
No, I think it should take place like I'd say years, because that was what was interesting about Blair Witch 3, but they went 15 years. I wouldn't make it that long. I'd make it
the brother looking for her, like she's still alive or something.
Oh yeah, she's still alive 15 years later in this. Come on. What is she? Hermit living in, or Michael Myers Hermit living in the woods?
Yeah, Blair Witch Project, my number 3.
Yeah, great pick, man. You have it higher than us. That's cool. All right.
So who wants to go next?
Go.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll go because mine's very simple. We've already talked about it, and that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Original.
All right.
Yeah, good movie, classic. Very disturbing. Like Dan said, that the scene that bothers me probably the most is when they're hitting her over the head with the hammer.
Oh, the grandpa. Yeah.
That's like the best scene.
Get it, grandpa, get her.
You know what? You know what's disturbing? You know what? Why that bothers me? And I hate to get grim, but that is like a realistic look at like how serial killers treat their victims, like not like human beings. Yeah. They think it's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when they put that girl on the hook.
Yeah.
Like, you have Cobra right there, but when they put her on the hook, I'm just like, oh man, like, can you imagine? But yeah, just like everything about this, like I like the pacing to this movie too. Like it starts off, they're heading to the house, they get to the house, and then they discover this other house behind the house they're at. And what I love about it, there's a generator, right? In the distance, you can hear how loud the generator is, and you're like, what the hell's that noise? And you see this house all the way back there and out of nowhere. My question is, did this house that Franklin's grandfather owned, how long was Leatherface living back there while his grandfather was living there? Like, I always wondered that. How long, like, did they know them as neighbors or not?
Well, they never really go into detail, do they?
They don't, but I'm in my mind. I'm always wondering. His grandpa passed away. They passed away. They visit the grave, right? Well, did they always know the Sawyer family back in the back? Because they didn't live that far away. I mean, they obviously knew they had neighbors. So,
Well, they should make another prequel and explain it.
and it makes me wonder if the Sawyers actually had a plot in Franklin's grandpa's death or something.
They should make a prequel and explain it.
They should. I actually would be.
No, that was a joke.
No, honestly, if they can do it right, why not?
No more
You know?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, please.
Yeah,
Like,
Leatherface. Yeah.
Honestly, that's one horror franchise I've given up on completely. It's just shit.
If they can do it right, they need to just stick with the original material instead of being stupid. Like, oh look, Leatherface, here's a chainsaw for your birthday. Happy birthday!
Yeah.
Here's your chainsaw, you little boy.
Yeah.
Like
I did like the first remake. Of
Yeah.
the remake was great.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, the Plemon Dunes remake. Yeah,
That was great. Yes.
I'm talking about the Leatherface prequel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the ones that don't make sense.
Yeah, but yeah, it's
Anyway,
good. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's number 3.
So far, Blair Witch has appeared 3 times in top 5, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And Texas has been mentioned twice. Yep.
All right, cool.
So next.
Dan, you can go next.
All right. So this next choice is again a movie from, I want to say it's 2004, but I could be wrong. This is an action horror movie.
I think I might know what it is.
Okay. Dawn of the Dead.
I got it.
Oh, I was about to say Alien vs Predator.
Nah, that was,
That's an action horror movie that came out in 2004.
So I'll say this, like the original like Return of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. Love all those films. And I had seen all those films before this movie. But this movie was great. And Zack Snyder directed the film.
I said in the DCEU show that's my favorite film.
Yeah.
I think I heard somewhere that he's doing a sequel.
Is that? Well, he's making another zombie movie
He just finished wrapping it.
for Netflix. It's gonna be on Netflix.
And it, he's one of the actors, but it
Another
originally
another what?
zombie movie.
Oh,
it's called
I don't-
something of Dark. It's not Army
Army of the Dead. I think it's mine.
Army of the Dead. Yeah, that's it. But I think originally it was going to be a sequel to Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah,
but
I don't think it is.
It's its own movie now.
Yeah.
But there's several other
They could have an after credit scene.
There's several other actors in it that we know. I just don't remember who they are. But they said Zack Snyder. He recently said in an interview that he was very glad to make this movie because he had 100% control of it. So I am interested to see how it turns out. But
Maybe he's not really making a zombie movie. Maybe it's all Hulks, and like when the movie premieres on Netflix, it's gonna be the Snyder cut of Justice League.
yes.
For you Snyder haters.
But yeah, this movie was the opening scene is so good, and you are so into it, and then all of a sudden it's like 15 minutes later. Maybe not 15 minutes, but all of a sudden, then it's the opening credits. You're just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, it's a surprise because you don't even realize you missed the opening because you were so enthralled with what was going on right away.
Exactly. Yeah. This is the movie that introduced fast zombies, too.
Exactly. Like, that was
technically, Return of the Living Dead, they were running.
No, okay, but these were zombies. These weren't like great grave.
And 28 days later.
Huh?
28 days later, the year before it had.
But those aren't zombies.
Those are infected.
Those weren't zombies.
I consider that a zombie movie, honestly.
It's kind of more infected than zombies.
Yeah.
Whatever. Tomato.
But
No.
I see what you're saying. It made it mainstream.
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, the characters were pretty likable. I mean, like you dislike the characters, but then the characters redeem themselves, so you started to like them near the end. I mean, they go into the mall. You have the guy across the way with the signs.
That Andy, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. So it was a fun a fun horror action movie, which was kind of like you don't usually see a lot of those either. But I just remember when that movie ended, the theater was packed, and I was like, Jesus, that was a great movie.
I remember, in the special features of that movie, you can see Andy's
story.
That's
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's one of those movies where I can put it on at any time and totally enjoy it. And again, like I am a big zombie movie fan.
Yeah.
That's a genre that I really do like, and I think this is one of the best ones. So
Definitely.
What would you say is your favorite zombie movie?
what's that?
Your favorite zombie movie?
Oh, probably this one, honestly.
This will be your favorite one?
Yeah, I mean, and again, the original Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, I really like those, and I like the Night of the Living Dead remake, and I like Return. Yeah, and I like Return of the Living Dead 1 and 3 a lot.
That's good too.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm not a big fan of 2. I don't know. I just thought it was.
It was just
My favorite zombie. Yeah, my favorite. If I had to pick like my favorite zombie film, it'll be the original Day of the Dead.
Okay. Yeah, and that's a good one too. So, and I own all of those except Return of the Living Dead 3. I still don't have that one. I want to get that one, but anyway, yeah, I don't know. That's a good pick.
I wasn't expecting that choice. That's a great choice.
yeah. All right, cool.
Alex, like go next.
My number 3 is a movie that a lot of people kind of don't consider horror. They consider more of a thriller, but it's horror, man. It's a horror movie.
All right.
That's Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Still classified as horror. So.
Yeah. I mean, everything's been said about this movie, but I guess I'll give you a little backstory on this movie. I remember when it was out in VHS for a few years now because it came out in '81. But I remember like the VHS. There were, even though it got what?
He said, "I can smell your cunt."
No, I cannot. No, I cannot.
I don't want to kill Thomas. Oh my god!
I'm still having a little bit of allergies.
I remember even years after it was out on VHS, there would be like so many like videotapes available to rent, and I was just so intrigued by the cover. It was just Jodie Foster with a moth like covering her mouth. It's like, is this like a killer moth movie or something? So like I remember seeing a little bit of it, like when she goes to a Buffalo Bill's house and she sees the girl in the well. Like I remember like those parts a little bit, and then I finally saw the movie like years later. And I like these kind of movies, like this like kind of like detective horror films. That's why I also really like the movie Seven and
Yeah.
Zodiac.
Ted Levine is amazing. Like that movie would have been good even if Anthony Hopkins wasn't in it. Ted Levine is just good. He's so good.
We always talk about how Anthony Hopkins, he's great in it, but yeah, Buffalo Bill, like the Ted Levine's Buffalo Bill, like man, it's so Imagine being kidnapped by this guy and you're stuck in the well and like, oh my god.
You know, because Ted Levine he played Rusty Nail in Joyride. He was in The Hills Have Eyes remake. He was
Oh my god, he was.
Yeah.
And he was also in The Mangler.
What are we gonna do, Bob? We walk. Walk.
And he was in the original. He was in the original Fast and Furious.
That too. Yep.
Yeah. Right.
So Silence of the Lambs, I just want to point out, it's got an 8.6 on IMDb, and it's in their the top 250 movies of all time.
Yeah, I mean it won like
I'd say
all the big Oscar awards and stuff like that when it came out.
This is true. Yeah, I just know about that movie, but Anthony Hopkins only has like 18 minutes of screen time in that movie.
True,
yeah.
He won an Academy Award.
That's the reason why I kind of like Hannibal more, is because that movie was about him and he was in it.
Yeah. Unless you consider Gary Oldman's character the main villain. I don't know.
That was
Cardell.
I want you to ask him about my lunch, you cocksucker.
I heard you and the doctor got friendly.
Oh, like the scene where he kidnaps what is the girl's name? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name.
Clarice?
No, not
Are you
Clarice. The girl he
Buffalo Bill?
kidnaps.
I can't remember.
Oh,
Is
you
it
mean like the
Ca- is it
senator,
Catherine?
The girl that
senator's
he
daughter?
Yeah.
that he kidnapped in the well.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Is it Catherine?
It might be.
Okay, well, what the scene when he kidnaps her? What was she just trying to help him move the couch? Oh, the
Yeah.
part when he says like,
Yeah, he's like, can you help me? He's like, can you get in the van there?
"Just
Yeah,
you
like-
in there." I was like, "Oh God!"
Well,
Is it-
you know, again, I love reading about serial killers. Ted Bundy, that's exactly how he captured a lot of his people. He would have a fake cast or like a crutch, and he'd
Yeah,
say,
yeah, yeah.
help me put this in my car, and then
Yeah.
he would knock them out.
hmm And like, you know what's it's funny? Like today, most of my day I spend like time like watching these YouTube videos. It's just like I'm gonna send you a link for this. Like, I really recommend them. It's like I think if the guy who makes them, he just takes stories like personal, like scary like incidents people went through and
Yeah.
survived, and does a kind of like a drawing of it, how just to make you see like how it went down, and it's creepy stuff, and like people like breaking your house, like or stalking you in the street and stuff like that. Like like that's it creeps me out, man, because it can happen to anybody, and like that scene portrays it really well. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and just like the scene where Hannibal Lecter escapes is great.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
got,
he did
he's
one.
got the classical music going on, and he's like dancing and hitting with the crowbar with the or the nightclub with the music.
After he takes the bite out of that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely one in the books. Like Silence of the Lambs is just renowned when it comes to
It's a great movie.
horror films.
Yeah, and I didn't mind Hannibal too much. I know a lot of people hate it. I don't think it's bad. I just
No, it's not a big.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like the Hannibal Lecter like series of movies, my favorite's Manhunter.
I know you love
Manhunter
Manhunt.
is really good.
we already talked about this. Move on. We covered
And we had this conversation a million times already.
we get it.
Brian Cox.
Yeah, but Silence of the Lambs is great.
Yeah, that's a great choice. Silence of the Lambs is awesome.
All right.
Yeah, good choice.
So I had
I think
Blair Witch Project. Alex had Silence of the Lambs. Rob had Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Dan had Dawn of the Dead.
The remake.
Yep.
All right. Now on to our number 2.
Number 2.
By the way, Dan, have you mentioned the movie that got you into horror movies? Yeah. Was it-
Yeah, I didn't. And I think I was confused by your question because I don't remember what got me into horror movies, but I can't.
When I asked this, like the horror movie that made you go like, yes, I want to watch these horror movies. Like,
Yeah, see, honestly, I don't think I can remember. But my number 1 is the first horror movie I would consider that I saw.
okay, like, from beginning to end, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I thought you meant. So I do apologize. I messed
No,
up.
that's fine. Yeah.
But
All right. Okay, on to our number 2.
Yep. Number 2.
who hasn't gone first yet?
I haven't.
Okay, go ahead, Rob.
All right. Go.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I thought Rob did go first with the set.
It doesn't matter. We go out of order. It's
Am I the only one who hasn't?
Yeah,
Yeah, wait, did Rob go first with the descent, or was that?
I went first. I think.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, go
okay.
ahead, Rob.
Go ahead, Rob.
Okay. My number 2 is the original Dawn of the Dead.
Cool.
All right.
I consider this a masterpiece in
Great movie.
my favorite hands down zombie film of all time, and
That's awesome.
yeah, it's like honestly, this movie. I remember I was younger. I watched this, and I'm like, I was just so into it. I mean, right in the beginning when they enter that apartment complex and they blow that guy's head off, and that guy takes a bite out of that chunk out of that woman, like right from the bat, it gets crazy, and then like having all these zombies who are really slow and stupid looking, almost like it almost intimidates you when they're just all over the place and they get in big groups. Because when you think about it, like if zombies move that slow, like you could just easily get around them. And like in this movie, they kind of do that. They kind of run around in the mall and try to get around. But when they're in big groups, you're just like, holy shit! Like, how are we gonna
Right.
get past these things?
Yeah.
But like this movie, like I love the whole mall aspect. I always wondered what it would be like to actually have a mall to yourself, and like in this movie, they kind of explore that a little bit. Just I don't know, just everything about it. The characters, I love Roger. I love Ken Foree's character. Flyboy, and I love those guys. Tom Savini also did the makeup effects, and he appears in this movie.
Yeah,
The biker gang, yeah.
and the biker.
Yeah. During the third act, it gets gory when they start biting people and ripping their limbs off and stuff, and guts and all that stuff. But yeah, I cannot even really say one bad thing about this film. It's just I think it's like almost perfect for a movie in general.
It's one of those movies too where they try to go the more realistic route in that it's not a happy ending. It's like that would really happen. Like let's say like you had this great idea, like we're gonna like take this mall and like live here, like there'd be a group of bad people that would be like, oh, we're gonna break in here and get rid of you. And
yeah, like I love the pacing too, like how they want to close the mall up. They kill all the zombies inside. Then they lock the doors.
yeah, they have that plan.
And they move the trucks in front of the doors so no one can get in. And then they block off the stairwell in case people get in. They don't know they're living upstairs. Like all these little like ideas that they start thinking of, like how can we reinforce this mall? That was just brilliant. And there is a sad, like I always get sad when Roger, because he's one of my favorite characters, when he gets bit and like he has to put him down. He's like, "Hey, Peter, we didn't he?" He's like, "We did it, didn't we? We got their ass." And like, I don't know.
I agree.
This movie's awesome. It's my favorite zombie film. So
Cool.
No more Ruben. No.
you can actually still go to that mall. How cool is that?
Really? Where's it at?
I think it's in Pittsburgh. I think, isn't it?
I don't
Is
know.
it Pittsburgh? Maybe
Okay.
Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
You want to make a zombie movie? Yeah. Let's remake Dawn of the Dead again.
I always wish that they would have done a sequel or a remake of Day of the Dead, because
Didn't they do that?
They did, yeah. They did a remake called Day of the Dead Bloodline, and it's almost the same premise. Underground, they have a guy who talks like what's his name? What was the zombie's name?
Bob.
There's a guy just like that. They don't call him Bub, but he's kind of like that. The movie's you can tell it's just a shot for shot almost remake.
That's too
And
bad.
they also did another remake in 2008.
Yeah, there was that was actually supposed to be like the sequel to the Dawn of the Dead one, but
Vegetarian zombies.
the girl from American Pie's in it.
I hated Land from the Dead, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah, that
was all right.
It was, yeah.
Oh, they're learning.
I didn't see it.
I didn't care. I didn't really. I didn't really
Oh, let me communicate. Like, oh, stupid.
care for the last two zombie films. I didn't care for Diary of the Dead or Survival of the Dead.
Yeah, write my diary. Your diary.
I honestly think Bruiser was a better George Romero movie than his last two zombie movies. But
Anyway, yeah, that's my.
it's a great choice.
All right.
So who wants to go next?
Alex?
Yeah, sure. I'll go next.
All right, number two.
This is the movie that got me interested in pretty much every other horror movie, at least like the mainstream horror movies.
Okay.
You already know, it gives you a clue what I'm gonna say. And that is the 1996 Wes Craven film Scream.
Yep.
Yes,
Good one.
because they mention all the big horror movies in that movie. They mention Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Evil Dead, Hellraiser. They even mentioned The Howling in the movie. This is cool.
Yep.
But yeah, I love the premise. who done it. You don't know who the killer is until the end. You have your red herrings. You have all these likable characters who are horror fans, who've seen horror movies, so it's self-aware. A great humor. The kills, the opening. That shocked me when I first saw it because I thought Drew Barrymore was the main character. So when once she gets stabbed like the second time, I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna die? What's going on? What the hell? It's just the beginning. And yeah, it's that opening is still chilling. Like it still holds up. Once he tells her, like, I want to know who I'm looking at. Like, shit, it gets real.
Yeah, I remember it goosebumps. Right at that time, I was like, oh, like what?
It's amazing.
No.
How simple. It's amazing how simple the costume looks, and yet it was one of the most popular costumes around that time.
Right.
Yeah, and I love the setting, like a house in like the middle of nowhere, and they did a great job with the location.
Yeah.
I mean, like everyone knows the plot to Scream, so I won't get into that much. But yeah, and another thing like that surprised me, I was surprised there was 2 killers in the movie.
See, that's the reason why I think the sequels. I think this movie should have been left alone, and as one, because that's why I think the sequels don't really work as well.
I agree, but disagree at the same time because I love the other movies too.
But I mean, that's why I like Scream 3 so much, is because they didn't redo what they did in now 2 movies, Scream 2 and 4. It's pretty much the same thing. 2 killers. It's like, I don't know.
What, which one? 3 killers?
Actually, it'd be fine. Let's change it instead of having fucking 2 all the time.
I'll say this, and I mean, it's just my opinion. I was way into the Scream movies. Like, I loved 1, 2, and 3. I was way into them, and then like time passed, and I don't know if it was because I overwatched them or just time had passed. But like when Scream 4 came out, I wasn't interested in it, and I didn't even go see it. And when I look back, like I don't know what it is. Like I feel like I don't care about that series anymore. I don't know why.
I feel the same way about Saw.
Yeah. But I did love the first 3. But yeah, I haven't even seen the 4th one.
So you still haven't seen it?
No.
You should. I mean, I like it. It's good.
I know what happens. I do know what happens, but I haven't.
Oh, what's the point then?
Yeah, like. Oh.
But at the same time, though, like, there it is. I have a Ghostface mask too, but I had some. I'm not gonna go all the way up to my fucking room to get it. But when it comes to horror franchises, every single horror franchise ever made, Scream is my favorite one.
Okay.
I know when you asked like what are your favorites, like Friday 13th, Elm Street, or Halloween. That's why I asked you. Just those 3? Yeah, Friday 13th.
Gotcha.
But all time, Scream is my favorite. I love all 4 movies, and yeah, honestly, they shouldn't make any more movies without Wes Craven. I don't think it seems right.
Yeah,
I heard they were going to though.
Can I ask where you saw Scream 1? Like, I mean, was it at the theater or?
No, it was on VHS.
Okay, so like when you first saw it, were you hooked immediately, or was it?
Yes.
Now, did you see the sequels in theaters?
Just Scream 4.
Just Scream 4.
I didn't get to see any of the Scream movies in theaters. Yeah, it's one of those. Like I've never not liked them. Like something. There's times like, oh, I don't want to watch them. Like I don't feel like watching them. But like I've always every time even whether it's on cable or whatnot. Like if it's the middle of the movie, I'm watching it. I watch it for all the way to the end. Any of them. Okay, we got someone else commenting. Drunk 3PO. Just scrolling and found this live. What's up? What's this about? It's about horror movies. Our favorite horror movies.
Yeah, our top 5 of
3PO. But yeah,
Oh my goodness.
Don't get your mind wiped in the new movie.
yeah,
Don't turn to the dark side, 3PO.
you will. I always want to see evil 3PO. But you know what though? One thing that doesn't hold up about the first Scream, other than the technology, phones are different now. Other than that, is some of the I told Rob this when we were talking about it. We're on that 3-hour long line in Haunted Haven. I mentioned it to him that half of the stuff that Randy says about the rules are kind of bullshit when you actually watch a lot of these horror movies, because he talks about only virgins survive horror movies. Well, that's not really true. Friday 13 Part 2, that's not true. You even see about the original Friday 13.
Some of them you don't know if they're virgins or not. I mean, we don't know if Sally was a virgin in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, but in Friday 13 Part 2, Ginny, she clearly has sex with Paul in one scene, and she survived. She was smart too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she outsmarted.
Randy was just one of those know-it-all nerds that thought he.
Yeah, that's why I try to look at that now, because I still like the character Randy, but sometimes dude, you have your information all wrong. That's why you got killed. in Scream 2. But yeah, and Neve Campbell as Sydney. She's actually my favorite Scream queen.
Really? Out of everybody?
Yeah, honestly, because I like she never backs down. She's a good fighter.
Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah, I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis. I actually liked her as Laurie Strode in H2O and Halloween 2018 more than I do in the original, to be honest.
Well, but I mean, she's been in Terror Train.
Yeah, Terror Train. Yeah, but Prom Night I wasn't really a big fan of, honestly.
Yeah.
It's okay. But okay, Drunk 3PO says Disney Star Wars sucks. LOL. Don't agree on that one. But if you want to join us for our Star Wars show that we might do, I don't know. Then
Mickey Mouse is my dick.
Last Jedi is not that bad.
Oh, come on, we'll do a Star Wars stream sometime, even if it's 6 months from now.
It's gonna be all about Last Jedi, okay?
Okay.
We can do a prequel, original trilogy.
See, that's
new
what I was
trilogy,
thinking.
Yeah, let's do that.
and then do a final ranking one after that.
Yeah. But yeah, Scream. It's my second favorite horror film of all time.
It's a great choice.
It's a good one.
And
It's a great choice.
Thomas, you reviewed the movie, and you said in the video that it was my favorite horror movie. You are wrong, sir. It's my number 2.
I mean, I was close.
I didn't comment on that, because I wanted to wait for this show to mention that.
Yeah.
So you're wrong, man.
I could have swore it was.
So if this was a horror movie, since you're wrong, you would be the first to die, Thomas. Sorry.
That's a rule.
It's a rule.
7 days.
Rule number
7.
55.
Everyone.
7 days.
7 days.
Yeah.
Once you die through the ring, that's bullshit.
All right, thanks, Drunk 3PO. He's gonna say he's gonna subscribe. If you're gonna subscribe to me, also subscribe to Thomas here, Horror Fan 34, and subscribe to Rob. Sorry, Rob Ghostface, Mr. Ghostface here. Movie review time. And if you want,
Rocky Balboa 101, Dan.
Rocky Balboa 101, yeah. He makes a video every time a Creed movie comes out. He'll make a video when Creed 3 comes out.
Hey, I gotta do Rambo 5. So,
You do have to do it.
And then no one will watch the review. They'll say, "Oh my God, you're back!"
yeah.
Review.
Have you not seen our live streams?
Okay.
So what do you think of the video?
Drunk 3PO also says, check out Geeks and Gamers. We are at 200,000
Gamers?
subscribers.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, we've heard of them. All right, who wants to go next?
It's me and
Who's going? Rob went, and then Alex went.
Yeah.
You can go next, Dan.
all right. So my Thomas had said his 4 and 5 were tough. My 3, 4, and 5 were tough, but my 1 and 2 were not tough. My
My number 1 and 2 are not tough either.
Yeah. My number 2 movie is a movie that I feel some people on multiple viewings might not like it as much. To me, it's equally good every time I see the movie.
Okay.
I don't have any negative things to say about this film. It is The Sixth Sense.
All right.
I don't know if you guys consider that a horror movie.
I do. I do that.
It's classified as a thriller, but it's still in the horror community. Still consider it a horror movie.
Yeah.
Here we have M. Night Shyamalan go at this type of film. It put him on the map. This is a movie that when I first saw it, this kind of movie. It's not that there weren't twists before this movie came out, but this movie kind of brought people to start bringing twists into their movies again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were a lot, and all of a sudden this movie came out, and then all of a sudden it's like every movie had to have some kind of a twist. But what I like about this film, there's so much good to say about this movie. That Haley Joel Osment, I was so impressed by this kid's acting. Bruce Willis had typically not done a role like this before. He wasn't. This isn't an action movie. He was fantastic in it as well. Toni Collette was great.
Yes.
And then you have the cinematography and the foreshadowing and the directing. Everything about this movie just fits so well. And I know, and again, I feel like people feel about this movie like sometimes, okay, well, you already know what the twist, like, so it doesn't have the impact that it does. But like, personally, for me, that doesn't bother me at all. Like knowing the outcome of the film, I can sit down and watch this movie, and I am still so into it and invested in the characters and the story and the dialogue. Everything is just so good, and it is. I don't want to say it's scary per se, but the acting, you believe them. You believe they feel like real people, and I just love everything about this movie. It's perfect for me. So
when you talk about twists, like I understand exactly what you're talking about. When people watch it a second time and they're not invested in as much as the first time because the twist ruins everything the second time. But see, you go back to movies like Friday the 13th, the original, where we know automatically who the killer is, or Sleepaway Camp. It's like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the killer in Friday the 13th is Jason.
It doesn't, like, those movies still. I still think they hold up even third, fourth, fifth time viewing them because it's just so good. They're so good at, no matter what the twist does.
Yeah, Bob and I saw this. We saw this movie in the theater, and then afterward, I got pulled over on the way home.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
But sheriff, man.
Yeah, but it was.
What are you guys doing out so late, you dumbass? We just saw a movie.
You have past the curfew?
We're selling drugs. Get out. But yeah, I just I don't know. Like, I could go on and talk about this movie, but I feel like most people have seen it. You guys have obviously seen it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the colors and the hits. And I remember M. Night saying when Haley Joel says, "I see dead people," and remember Bruce Willis is like, "Oh, in your dreams," and he's like, "No, walking around with regular people." And there's that situation there where.
Sorry about that. Keep going.
That was spooky.
Keep going.
That scene essentially reveals the whole story if you're paying attention. And M. Night was very worried that people were going to pick up on the ending in that scene, because that whole scene gives everything away. And I didn't pick up at all. And I don't think anyone else did. I don't think most people did either. But like when you watch that scene now, it's like when he's like, they're like zooming in on Bruce Willis as he's saying, like, I see dead people walking around with regular people. And Haley Joel Osment's got the cold breath happening. That happens when the spirits are around, So it's like everything comes together there, but you're so invested in what they're saying. You're just invested in the scene. You glaze over that. You don't realize that they're telling you that. Then there's the whole story with like the little girl that was poisoned by her mom.
Yeah.
you're just like, man, that's messed up. And I don't know. I think the acting is what really tips that movie over for me. But again, like M. Night Shyamalan was fantastic. The directing, like the symbolism, like the camera angles, everything was just perfect for that movie. So that's my number 2.
Can I mention one scene that creeped me out in The Sixth Sense, Dan?
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
The girl under the bed.
Right. Yeah, that was the
One
girl
that's
that
growing up, yeah.
she was poisoned. That's the poison.
I always
girl.
thought the lady who slit her wrists, that was always creepy.
Yeah. Dinner is not ready.
And then she's like, look what you did to me. Like she started like chasing him, like, oh man.
Yeah.
It also, like, growing up, like, I always thought that there was something creepy about my house, and there's a lot to go into it.
We could do a whole podcast on that.
But like that movie, I think also like the scenes like with the mom and like how like the boy or Cole, he was hurting and like in the closet hiding, and the mom didn't know what to do. Like I don't know, like being a parent now, it was just like that's like you can't like help your kid. It's just like that's just so.
Mhm.
She couldn't do anything for him. Didn't know what was going on. So and then like when he reveals to his mom, he sees dead people and they're in the car, and there was the person that just died standing by the window. Yeah, I don't know, just everything. So yeah, great movie.
That's actually my favorite. That's actually my favorite scene in any M. Night movie. Is that scene?
The car theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
A great scene.
That and that's almost tied with
Lady in the water?
No. This you're my joke. I was gonna fucking say Marky Mark talks to the plant in the happening, but never mind. That's okay.
I have a theory that Jordan Peele. I hope he doesn't go the M. Night route.
Woo!
I want to point this out. Sixth Sense. That was what brought M. Night on the map. Then he made Unbreakable. Okay, now Unbreakable now has a very strong following. When that movie first came out, it did make money, but people were just like, I didn't really care for the movie. That was like the realistic superhero movie before that had come out.
Yeah.
We
But
talked
then-
about that in the M. Night show that we did.
Yeah.
So then it was like Signs came out, which again was good, but then like everything started to go downhill for him. Now you have Jordan Peele, Get Out, like universal praise. Us made a lot of money, but
Not
people,
as much.
yeah, people didn't care for it as much. Like, hopefully he doesn't go on that same trend.
But we'll see.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
We'll see if what's Jordan Peele's village.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, Thomas, you're up.
All right. So my number 2, actually have it right here. Film that I love very, very dearly. This is my number 1. Could have easily been like I could have tied it for first place, but my number 1 is my number 1. But this one had to be number 2, and that is
The Shining.
The Shining.
Now, is that the miniseries? Oh, never mind. Of course. Kubrick's.
I like the miniseries. I'm gonna say it.
I've never seen
Yeah, The Shining is.
Rob is shaking his head.
That mouth. He had like that mouth, that weird mouth.
Take your medicine, you damn little pup.
That's a great pick to Shining.
Yeah, but The Shining is.
Is that the steel book you have? Is that the steel book? You have a steel-
Yeah, that's a steelbook. Yep.
awesome.
And
I like-
and when you take the Blu-ray out, this is actually the scene.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the bathroom. That's awesome. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Show that clip.
I think this was I believe it was an FYE exclusive.
Oh.
Got it for like $10.
Yeah, they show that clip in Haunted Haven. Remember, Rob?
Yep.
Yeah, they keep showing that one.
Yeah, but The Shining is an all-time classic. It's one of my favorite films of all time, not just horror films, but films of all time. This is without a doubt my favorite Jack Nicholson movie. It's my favorite performance of his. It's my favorite character that he's played. I love him as the Joker and Tim Burton's Batman. That'd easily be my number 2. But him as Jack Torrance is absolutely mesmerizing. He's fantastic in the movie. And you really get the sense that this guy's losing it over the few months that he's at the Overlook Hotel. And on top of that, too, Stanley Kubrick just did a wonderful job directing the movie. And it's just a lot of really great scenes in the movie, especially with the little boy, Danny, riding on the little bike in the hallway. And really great camera shots, too, when the camera's, like, directly behind him. And then he turns to the corner and he sees the 2 girls in the hallway. Come play with us, Danny. And then for the split second, he sees them all chopped up to pieces in blood. And on top of that, too, what really gets me about that scene is not only that, but the way Danny reacts to that. And he
and that would terrify any little kid.
Yeah.
His eyes, and then he looks, and they're not there anymore. And Danny Lloyd, who plays a little boy, he's fantastic as well. Shelley Duvall does a great job as well. I know Shelley Duvall didn't really have the best experience working on this because I know Stanley Kubrick.
There were a lot of problems with
her. I think that's what kind of made Shelley Duvall kind of loony cuckoo nowadays.
Yeah, it's sad.
She doesn't.
She
doesn't look that well nowadays. I don't think she acts anymore.
No, she doesn't.
Nah, I mean,
don't expect her to appear in Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, but
it seems like in Doctor Sleep, they're trying to get actors that resemble the other characters. Because sorry, Thomas, but it seems like Halloran is in Doctor Sleep, and I don't know how that's the case because he got killed in The Shining.
Well, he got killed at the hotel.
He could be a ghost.
Okay.
And I know, and going into I know Stephen King himself hates this movie, and he doesn't like the fact. Well, the thing is,
it's very different from the book. That's why.
But the thing is, I know then Stephen King did the miniseries, which was more based on his novel, and I didn't care for the miniseries. I mean, I found it to be completely unsatisfying. I think the aspects that Stanley Kubrick added to The Shining were much more effective. I like the head maze better than the ending in the miniseries. I like I just think it has better stuff with him.
Tony.
Yeah, but the miniseries is not. If you think about it, it's not that different from the Kubrick. There's little minor things, but the miniseries focus on that goddamn boiler in the hotel. That's what it focused on. Make sure you check that boiler because it's going to explode if you don't. How many times did they visit that boiler in the miniseries? Like so many times. In the Kubrick, they didn't make a big deal about that. They're just like, okay, make sure you tend to the boiler. Okay, it's simple, you know.
And on top of that, too, another really great scene in the original Shining is when he sees the bartender, Joe Turkel. You were always the caretaker, Mr. Torrance.
Yeah.
And on top of that, too, it's just like when Jack Nicholson is going crazy, he's fantastic. And little pig, let me in. And on top of that, too, when you think about The Shining, whenever that, here's Johnny, they reference that a lot, and they parody that so many times in other things. I think a Simpsons episode did that.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorites.
Even see that Chucky had a very similar scene like that too.
Yeah, Chucky made a reference to that.
I'm trying to think what else. There's other ones too that were like that as well.
Well, Vince Kubrick, his daughter, filmed a documentary which is fantastic about that.
Yeah,
about The Shining.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that too, Stanley Kubrick as a director, I love as a director. Clockwork Orange, this movie, 2001. Eyes Wide Shut. I mean, Stanley Kubrick. Full Metal Jacket's another great movie. But in Stanley Kubrick, he's greatly missed. He was a fantastic filmmaker. I still don't like the fact of what he did to Shelley Duvall while making The Shining. I think that was kind of shitty.
Yeah.
And on top of that, too, one of the things that really got me into The Shining, that really got me pulled into the movie, was actually the trailer. And it's the trailer where there's nothing in, this is what I miss about trailers nowadays. This trailer that they put together for The Shining was so effective and so creepy all you see is just the elevator scene, and they're just scrolling through all the credits. Like it shows like The Shining, directed by whoever, starring whoever, written by, based on the novel, and then after the credits roll one more time, it just says The Shining. As soon as the credits are done rolling, in super slow mo, the blood starts coming out of the elevator, and you have the really great musical score that plays over the trailer. And that's another thing. This movie has great music in it. It's fantastic, creepy music, and you have some creepy scenes: the elevator, the blood coming out of the elevator, the hallway, the naked lady coming out of the shower in room 237.
Yeah.
And
That dude, he's what is it, like a dog or a wolf mask or something
yeah,
in the bedroom? Yeah.
It's the bunny rabbit.
Yeah,
He's
he's
wearing a-
kind of like bunny
Yeah.
rabbit.
There is some creepy stuff in this movie, and the way that Kubrick shot the movie is absolutely fantastic. And it's I probably say it's probably my favorite adaptation when it comes to Stephen King movies. Like I love Children of the Corn and things like that, but this is my favorite Stephen King adaptation of a movie. It's well directed, and I mean, and it's one of those horror films too, where even though it's one of those slow burn horror films, I still think it's really effective. It builds up the characters really, really well. And it builds up this creepy tension, and the whole hedge maze at the very end is great when Jack is chasing Danny through the hedge maze and he outsmarts his father by walking backwards and things like that. And I mean, I can go on and on about The Shining, but for those out there who have not seen The Shining, you are definitely missing out. It's a great movie, and it's a must-see horror film that you have to go check out. So, without a doubt, my number 2.
All right, so I do have a question because there's something in this movie I've never understood.
The ending.
How is he in the photo from the past?
It's
I think that's sort of
reincarnation.
I think it's sort of symbolism. Like, remember how Grady told him he's always been there?
Right.
I think that is there to show that he's always been there, or maybe he's joined them. I think now that he's passed on, because he died in the hedge maze.
Right.
Now that he's passed on, he's pretty much in the group photo as joining the group. I think that's just an apparition. That's what I know most people have all these theories, but the only one that really just makes sense is that, like, there's no way he was there around the whatever time period that was.
1930s or something like that.
Yeah, there's just no. I mean, remember in the beginning of the movie, Jack even says, it's weird. He's like, I feel like I've been here before. Like I know it's around every corner. So then again, that's another theory. Like, why would he say that? Like he's.
That's why I feel like it's like reincarnation or something.
I mean, it could be, but see, and also people don't know this. This is a nice little thing they touch on really quick in the movie. Is that the hotel was built on an Indian burial ground. So that's the reason for the evil and what's going on there.
Right.
And I don't even think they mentioned that in the miniseries.
Where is that hotel in real life?
Colorado. I don't remember what.
Don't they say that it's haunted?
It's in the mountains. No, not the one in the miniseries is actually considered haunted. The one in the Stanley Kubrick version is actually not even called that. It's actually just a regular hotel lodge thing.
But it's still be creepy to go there.
All the insides were shot on soundstage.
Oh, okay.
All the insides were shot on a soundstage because if you watch the documentary, you'll see. But the one in the miniseries, I believe a lot of that was shot in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where's that? Oh, is that the one?
I don't remember, but Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures,
Ghost Hunter.
Yeah. So that's one thing I'll get the miniseries, I guess.
Shining.
That's right.
Yeah, good one.
Is that all our number 2?
That's number 2.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, I had The Shining. You had Scream.
Number 2.
I
had Dawn of the Dead.
The original Dawn of the Dead.
And Dan had
Sixth Sense.
Yep.
Sixth Sense. Okay.
You guys want to? Should we do honorable mentions before our number ones?
I don't care.
It would give away. I don't.
Oh,
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know
It
what.
makes more sense to do it that way, but it's up to you guys.
I'm up for it if that's what you want to do.
I mean, like,
I'll
I'd
do
rather
whatever.
just say once I finished the list and say, oh, these are the ones that quite didn't make the cut. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So I guess we'll put our number one.
Number one.
I think Rob should go first on this.
I just went first.
But
Oh, you want me to go?
I think you should because I know what it is. And
Well, they all
Yeah,
know.
I do too. Yeah, we all know that.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yes.
All right. Shining, of course.
that's why I just figured we're talking about it. We might as well keep talking about it.
Yeah, everything Thomas said, I agree with. I think there's been, like I want to touch on a little bit too, is that behind the scenes, Shelley Duvall and Stanley didn't get along is because when Stanley would say it's ready to start shooting, Shelley would kind of be slow about it. So Stanley would kind of push her, but they also said in the interviews that Stanley did that because he knew he could get more out of her. She didn't really give her 100%, so he knew by pushing her that it would get it out of her. And even Shelley said that she had tremendous respect for Stanley even afterwards. So I think it really hit a mark, and that's what kind of director he was. I think that's what made him so exact and precise on what he's doing. But the movie, honestly, I cannot wait for Dr. Sleep. I just
I'm really excited for that.
But early reviews are good.
Ewan McGregor. You can't get any better than that. I'm not even sure what Danny Lloyd's doing now. What is he doing now?
He's a professor.
Yeah, he's a professor at he teaches biology, I think.
I'm wondering if they actually contacted him.
Yeah, but he's not an actor anymore.
I know, but still,
Yeah,
But anyway, the movie is a masterpiece to me. It's my favorite horror movie of all time, and I remember the movie Twister was playing that movie in the movie.
Yes.
That's kind of cool. But yeah, there's so many parodies. Like Thomas said, my favorite scene is the bathtub scene. It gets me every time. I think that's way scarier than the miniseries, that part. But the hallway with the two children. What else?
Tony.
Yeah, Tony. Brothers, honestly,
He's awesome.
he surprised me too. I didn't think he was going to be any good, but he was wow. He was great. Some of the stuff he did. You know who else is in it? Tony Duke from Rocky IV.
You're right.
Right, yeah.
Tony Burton.
Yeah, but I thought there was just something scary about being in a hotel for all those months during the winter when it's snowing and you can't go anywhere. You have that sense of isolation and cabin fever when you're in there and you're just going nuts. It's almost psychological in a way. Does he really see this stuff? Or is it just because he's going crazy? You start to think that because
Shelley Duvall's character, she also starts seeing things too around the end.
Yeah. And even the interview, when Jack goes in for the interview right in the beginning of the film, when he talks to Mr. Halloran, or not Mr. Halloran, but the director, the manager, the manager starts telling him a story about when Grady went crazy, and that you start to see things when you have not claustrophobia, having fever. And there again, that sets in the psychological aspect. Is it really true, or is it just because he's maybe going crazy because he's there alone? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. There's just so many things about the movie. It's very complex in that way. I love it. So it's my favorite #1 horror film.
I want to say some stuff. Out of all the movies we've talked about tonight, this is the one that, before Halloween, I'm gonna rewatch this movie because I
will too.
That makes me want to watch.
I want to watch it with you.
And I actually left this off of my top 5 purposefully. I just because I didn't want to. I know this was Bob's favorite, and I wanted to let him shine and talk about it. But,
shine.
But
shine.
So this movie on IMDb, it's got an 8.4. But if you take the IMDb 250 and you break it down to horror movies in the top 250, it's #2.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
that's how
Yeah.
well done that movie is. And
What's
I agree.
What's number one then?
Oh,
Psycho.
okay.
Okay.
The original Psycho.
Okay.
But yeah, like a couple weeks ago, I was reading trivia about The Shining, and yeah, like everything you guys were talking about is correct. And he was Stanley Kubrick was very protective of him on set.
Yep.
He always made sure like he was very comfortable in all of his situations. But I know Stanley Kubrick, he was kind of a perfectionist, and he would take after take after they would do like 50 takes, 60 takes, and Scatman Carruthers. He talked about like he would actually cry off screen because he would be so tired and not know what Stanley wanted. He'd be like, I don't know what else he would want.
That's why Shelley had such a problem.
Yeah,
because he would push her and push her.
Didn't even like Jack Nicholson like start getting tired of Kubrick a bit?
No,
I think he was okay.
Shelley was she was jealous of Jack because Jack got all the attention.
Mm-hmm.
And she was actually jealous. She admitted it in an interview,
Okay.
in the documentary. Even she admitted that she was a little jealous at times. But yes, Kubrick. I think he put Jack up on a pedestal because
Jack was a star.
He would do it great every single time, and he really had no complaints with him. But it was Shelley and like Scatman, like he was saying.
Yeah, Scatman, like whatever movie he did after that movie. This was in the interview. When he did his first scene, and the director was just like, "Okay, yeah, we got it." Like he like broke down crying and was just like, "I can't believe like this."
It's one take, yeah.
Yeah, just thinking about like how difficult it was for him.
You can see in the documentary really quick, the snow when it's snowing. That's a snow machine, and you can see in the documentary Stanley Kubrick's ready, and the snow machine's dropping snow, and he's like, Shelley has to come out the door. And he's like, okay, he's like, action, Shelley. And all of a sudden, nothing happens. All of a sudden, he's like, action, Shelley. And then the other guys, the crews are just sitting there like, oh, shit. Like, oh, my God. So then it shows Stanley, he's walking up in rage to the door, and he opens the door. He's like, Shelley, I'm saying action. And he's like, oh, fuck, come on. Like, he's like, come on. He's like, you got to be ready. And she's like, I couldn't hear you. Like, she's like, this and that. Like, you could just tell, like, if you messed up, like people were like, "Oh shit, Stanley's he's getting pissed." Like,
no, wait, is this the daughter documentary?
Vivian Kubrick is his daughter. It's a documentary actually right here on the Blu-ray.
Also, it's on the Blu-ray.
Vivian Kubrick's documentary, "The Making of The Shining." You can actually see it, probably on YouTube too. But it says there's an optional commentary, which I haven't even
That would
heard.
be interesting.
But anyway, it's a good documentary. If you guys haven't seen it,
Yeah.
it goes over a lot of stuff about The Shining. So
And I'm that too. I'm ready to go.
I've heard all the stuff that happened because my brother was the one who got me into Kubrick films, and he was telling me about like all the behind the scenes stuff with The Shining. About he yelled at her. She even like fainted at one point.
Yeah, I'm actually reading up the tribute right here myself, and it
Yeah.
says, according to Shelley Duvall, the infamous "Here's Johnny" scene took 3 days to film in the use of 60 doors.
Wow.
yeah,
And then also, to get Jack Nicholson in the right agitated mood, he was only fed cheese sandwiches for 2 weeks, which he hates.
Uh,
I do remember reading that.
yeah. One good thing that Jack Nicholson always had to say too is that he'd always brush his teeth before,
yeah, I seen that clip.
to have respect for his coworkers.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot to see about that movie, but
Yeah, what a ride, though. I mean, that's a great movie.
It's a great.
We'll see how Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the turning point of Jack Nicholson's career, other than One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which was actually a good movie that he always considers one of his favorites. But
Mhm.
And then you figure he did like what, Chinatown, and
he did like The Terror, which was I think way before that.
Easy Rider.
I don't know.
was Chinatown before The Shining?
What?
Was Chinatown before The Shining?
Yeah.
Chinatown?
Yeah, it was.
I believe it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
like 74.
Yeah.
I've never seen that movie.
It's a pretty good like crime movie.
Well, who's next?
All right.
Who wants to go next?
Dan, you
You can go, Dan.
Okay, so I pretty much knew right away I was going to call this my number one, but
I know what it is.
I'm going to talk about this movie, but not talk about this movie, and it's going to kind of prove a point. My number one is Jaws.
All right.
I was wondering if anyone was gonna mention that.
Now,
I was thinking of putting that in the top 5, but I was like, yeah, it's a great pick.
This is a movie that's not. You wouldn't normally hear people, I think, call this a horror movie.
It is.
Here's the thing about this movie, though.
What would people call it, though?
They call it. I had this on
a B monster film.
No, on IMDb, I was looking at this earlier. It's called Three Things. One of it's adventure.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Not really.
Well, when they all three get on the boat, it's sort of like an adventure to go kill the shark.
IMDb is not working for me right now. But anyway, it's like adventure, drama, suspense. It's not even like a thriller. I don't think it's called an action movie. But
You know what's funny? A lot of these movies are critically acclaimed. They, for some reason, don't want to call it horror.
maybe that's why. They don't.
That really bothers me. Like, it's a freaking horror movie.
Jaws. Think about all the crazy death scenes are in Jaws.
Yeah.
With the boy getting eaten and like.
Here's my point about Jaws. This is my point about Jaws. When that movie came out, the book had been written in the past, and the book was popular. But we all know movies typically are more popular. When this movie came out, it scared people so much they stopped going in the water. They went out and started murdering sharks. They did this.
I didn't hear that part, the murdering sharks part.
I didn't hear that either.
This is true.
There's clips on that too.
This lasted years. This wasn't like killing sharks for a couple years. This was like decades. They did this all because of this movie. Because people thought the sharks were monsters. It wasn't until like in the last maybe 10, 20 years that people are finally like, okay, these aren't the monsters that we've seen from the movies. That movie did that to people. That movie affected people enough to not want them to go into the water and to actually go out and start murdering sharks because they thought they were evil. To me, that just shows that this film left a mark. Yeah. And it's, to me, this is it's perfect. And I try not to, I never give movies 10s. I've said this before. I have 2 movies that I've given 10s to, and it's Jaws and the original Rocky. But Jaws is just a great film, and so much stuff went wrong behind the scenes to make the movie work. I mean, the shark never worked.
They had 3 of them.
They had 3 sharks. It never worked for them. The movie was over budget. They were past the due time when the movie was due. So Steven Spielberg had to improvise. He had to not show the shark. He had to figure out ways to do it. Well, that just intensified the film. I think that was what made the film better, because people nowadays are like, the shark looks fake or whatever. You know what? I feel like they did, for what they had back then, they did a great job. I think that shark looks better than some of the CGI.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have now, God.
Well, the people who say that it looks fake, what shark? Well, what looks real in other shark movies?
A real shark.
Or much more real.
Exactly right. But you have,
Deep Blue Sea.
What?
Deep Blue Sea.
What? Oh yeah. Oh my
Next,
God.
yeah.
That CGI is terrible.
I agree. I like the movie, but
Yeah. But Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw, they hated each other, and those characters weren't supposed to like each other, so that totally made the dynamic more real. Robert Shaw was a drunk. He was drunk half the time, and you could see that in the movie. And again, that adds to the likability of that character. The suspense, the terror. I mean, seeing that kid get mauled. I mean, I don't think
You don't
I
ever
could be
see
wrong.
that.
I mean, this was in 1975. Like
Yeah.
up to that point, had there been like a child murder on screen, like
Like
mainstream?
that? No, not really.
Not
Yeah.
on screen.
Yeah. So I mean, it had.
I mean,
no, the-
That
even
kid-
Terry knocked it off the screen because it didn't show Gage actually getting hit.
right. And so, and not to mention,
They should have.
the music from that movie. I mean, how iconic is that?
That
Is
kid,
that-
yes, yeah. John
The
Williams is the
multiple-
best.
Yeah.
I mean,
That kid's
Oh,
name
yeah.
was Alex, and my brother always teased me.
Yeah.
Like, we would watch that they would show the movie on TNT like all the time, like in the early 2000s, and we saw it, like almost every day. And like he would always call like when we were watching it, like when we were somewhere else, he's like Alex. I'm like, stop it! Like he's like talking about the scene with his mother's looking for him.
I'm
Alex
glad.
Winter, yeah.
I'm glad the woman in the beginning died because she was stupid to go in the ocean at night.
Yeah. War.
Yeah.
She actually broke a rib.
Oh yeah, because they had her tied to ropes that
Yep.
were she was weighted down, and then the ropes went to shore, and they just had people just yanking.
Cleaning it.
Yeah, and so that's how
It
that
created
worked.
the effect, though. I mean,
Yeah. Have you guys seen any deleted scenes from that movie? There's a scene where Roy Scheider, he's trying to fire the revolver, and it keeps jamming, and like they do it take after take, and he just keeps getting angry and angry, and finally it's like, fuck. He's just like,
I've
it's
seen
so funny though. He's totally like into the role. Then he tries to shoot the gun. He's like, gun doesn't work. He tries to, and he's like,
it's like
gun's not working. And he's like,
I'm talking about a blooper. It's
no. It's just like out. It's the
Outtakes.
sorry, not deleted scenes. It's
like outtake,
outtakes.
yeah.
But he's getting more frustrating. Just like you could just feel how glum was it probably filming that movie. Like everything was going wrong. Like they'd have to like Richard Dreyfuss was always like they'd always be upset, being like, okay, cut, the shark isn't working, and they'd have to like, do all these resets. And Steven Spielberg even said he's like, it's the best worst movie I've ever made. He's like it did work out, but he's like it was like one of the most miserable experiences. He would
but
say.
even if the shark looks fake, there's something there. You know what I'm saying? It's not CGI. There's something actually there in front of you.
Right.
So you can react to it. So that's why.
yeah.
What is it? Like the Shallows? I think that's actually a good.
Yeah, I agree.
That they actually made the shark look really good in that movie.
Yeah.
But
That scene with the Quint is about to get killed. Like, oh my god, that's scary.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's a crazy scene, man.
Yeah, and he's like, gets chewed up, and man, I always told people growing up because, again, this movie got me into sharks. I'm serious. Like, so Alex, a little bit more. So like when I saw this movie, again, when I was younger, 'cause it was PG, so I could watch this one, but I was
What?
so
It is PG. Yeah.
Crazy, it's PG too. If you think about it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be PG nowadays.
No.
They didn't
No, it
have
would be rated R.
they didn't have PG-13, but this movie, I was so enthralled by this film. I went out and I went to the library and I borrowed every shark book and I just studied up on sharks. I have all this shark knowledge in my head. I did it for years and years and years. And I would tell everyone about the movie Jaws. I'm like, the only scene in that movie that would not happen is when, the shark jumped out of the water and kind of smashed the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mythbusters did myths on Jaws, and like a lot of the things were plausible. Like, yes, a great white that size can ram into a boat and break the hull. They proved that.
What would you think would be the scariest scene in Jaws? Mine would be the story.
The Quint story,
The Quint story. That's probably
It is,
my
yeah.
favorite. Scary.
I always once Chief Brody is alone on the sinking boat.
Oh.
That scene always gets me.
Oh
because
yeah.
I'm just like, where do you go? The boat's sinking and he's just trying to get up out of the water the whole time, and like that
The shark
always,
breaks through.
Yeah, he breaks through the glass, and like that scene always bothered me when he climbs the mast.
Yeah.
And of course that's the highest point, but then it leans over, and then like it's like in the water. He's like barely out of the water at some point. I'm just like,
He's lucky the shark had
yeah,
a tank in his mouth.
if the shark was below him, he would have just come up, But anyway, I love that film.
Yes.
I can watch that film every day, and
Man, now I regret not putting it in my top 5. Now you talk about it.
Top 5. It's like
It's great, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to.
That's an awesome
I'll talk all night about it. So.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Thomas, you go next.
All right. My number one favorite horror film. I'm pretty sure you guys can guess what it is.
I know where it is. You've mentioned it before.
But
Truth or Dare.
my number one easily would have been this one. I talked about this film many times on my channel. When I did my 31 Days of Horror challenge in October last year, this was the first review I did for the marathon last year because it's my favorite horror film of all time, and that of course is
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
Yes.
I mean, this easily is my favorite horror film of all time. I mean, I love this movie a lot. It's my favorite horror film from the 70s. It's one of my favorite films from the 70s. And one of the things that I love about The Exorcist is this is just like, you know, like exorcism movies like nowadays, like just don't come close to being as good as the original Exorcist. I mean, and on top of that too, this was really a film that did not need a franchise. It really could have been left alone as one movie, even though I do love
Exorcist 3.
Exorcist 3, yeah, because I think that's a pretty damn cool movie. But I really do think this film should have stayed one movie because I think Exorcist 2 ruined the franchise.
What a boring movie that was.
Crap that thing was. And it's hard to believe, too, that the sequel was directed by the same guy that did Deliverance,
Yeah.
John Borman. But the original Exorcist is a classic. I mean, if fantastic, and if you don't know the story, for people out there who don't know the story of The Exorcist, it's about, you know, Reagan, played by Linda Blair, who gets possessed by the devil, and yeah, of course, you know, Jason Miller as Father Karras come in, Max von Sydow as Father Merrin. You also have people like Ellen Burstyn, who plays the mom. You also have Lee J. Cobb. And on top of that, too, just like with The Shining, this movie has a lot of really great standout scenes in the movie, especially the scene that really gets to me a lot the most is when Linda Blair is laying on the hospital bed and she sees for like a split second the face of Captain Howdy. And just with and Captain Howdy, the face is a really creepy character, like with the yellow teeth and that blank white painted face that he has.
For me, it's when she's laying on there and all those machines are hooked up. You know, drawing the blood squirts out.
Yeah.
And that I don't know why that bothers me so much.
Yeah, I mean, and also too, when I'm mentioning this, I wanted to mention something really quickly. A little bit of trivia. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but I'm trying to. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Then I want to make sure I got that info right. Jason Miller, who played Father Karras, he was the dad of Jason Patric.
The actor?
Father.
Oh,
Jason Patric, the actor.
Jason Patric from the Lost Boys. That's
right.
Right. Yeah.
Miller. Jason Miller did a great job in this movie as Father Karras. I know Jason Miller around when he did Exorcist 3. I don't know if you guys know the behind the scenes of what happened with Jason Miller in the third movie. Basically, when the film was done, it was all Brad Dourif playing the Father Karras role, and then, but when the film was done, the studio went in there and they were like, "Can you have an exorcism scene in this?" Because the ending was kind of limp. Which, yeah, it is a limp ending when you watch the Legion cut on the Blu-ray, where the guy gets shot at the end, and that's it. I mean, rather than the exorcism scene. And then because they had to redo the exorcism scene, Brad Dourif had to redo everything, his entire performance, and basically it was a little bit of a split role. Like here's parts of Brad Dourif, and then it's like when George C. Scott's interviewing Patient X character in the third movie, like there's points where it's actually Jason Miller he's talking to, but then like the other personality is the Gemini killer. That's Brad Dourif. And what I was getting to before is like Jason Miller around that time he was a big alcoholic, and there was he couldn't there was a certain term that they used where they couldn't remember dialogue, and because they like, well, Jason Miller can't do it, but they managed to get him in there because the studio wanted Jason Miller to be in the movie to have more of a connection to the first movie. But the thing is, though, the movie didn't do exactly that well because of what happened with Exorcist 2. Because Exorcist 2 was so panned, and then people were like, "Really, you made another Exorcist movie? Like, wasn't too bad enough?" But going back to, like I said, with the original movie, I mean, the one good thing about the first movie is the musical score. It's my favorite horror score of all time. I love the way the musical score is done. And on top of that, too, the version you never seen before, which I guess is technically the director's cut.
That's the first one I saw.
Yeah, but I think I believe that cut was released in theaters, and I believe in 2000. Yeah. And like the spider walk scene down the stairs, and on top of that, too, I know a lot of people like nowadays might find the scene really, really comical, and I can see why. Because when you really do look at it, you kind of can't help but chuckle. It's when Linda Blair's on the bed and she's getting like thrown in the air and she's like bouncing up and down, like how she's like going back and forth like this, and, And on top of that too, it's like
I think because it's been parodied so many times.
Yeah, I mean,
the neck turn, the neck. You said The Shining has been parodied with Blair Witch as well, but the Linda Blair head turning, that's been parodied like to death.
When she's banging herself, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
I don't find it. I don't find any of it comical personally. Like I think it all holds up well.
Not me either.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I can see why people might think of that scene as being comical, but she's bouncing up and down. But the thing is, though, like, I don't find it comical. Like, I can understand why people say, but I feel like it still holds up pretty well, and it's creepy because
these kids today don't know.
In that scene, like, especially like one of the best scenes in the movie is
you're not
demon the demon voice itself, where like when she's like saying like "fuck me," like I just love the way like that the demon voice is great. I remember, like, and on top of that too, the whole ending, like, spoilers by the way for people who haven't seen the movie, but
everybody dies.
The ending is like when Father Karras finds out that Father Merrin died during the exorcism, and then he looks over at the devil laughing, and he tackles her and he's like punching her, and he's like, "Come into me, like, take me."
Yeah.
And he does a good thing. He saves Linda Blair. And what happens is
sacrifices himself. Yeah.
What's really creepy is that when you can see like this ghost coming out, and you can see the devil going out of her into him, and you can see that the devil is trying to get Jason Miller within his body now, trying to kill Linda Blair, and he manages to break free for a second. He goes no, and then he jumps out the window and kills himself. And on top of that too, really great stunt work when he's going down the steps like that. And things like that. And what's funny is actually, too, the Monster Mania convention that's up in Hunt Valley, Maryland, this year they had it for the first time, where it was a bus tour where you got to go see. It was called the Exorcist Tour, and you got to see the steps and things like that. So, and I didn't get to make it up there this year because the tickets were sold out. But I've heard a lot of really good experiences about going on that ride. So I really would like to go to that one day, see the Exorcist steps and things like that. But and on top of that too, it took place, and I believe in Georgetown, which funny, that's where Allen Iverson went to college for the Sixers, Georgetown. And
nobody cares for the boy.
Have you heard about the real Exorcist house though? Like the one where the kid got possessed. That's what the movie's based off of.
Yeah.
That's really haunted, and the ghost guys actually stayed the night there.
Huh.
It's crazy what happened in that bedroom.
See, The Exorcist is another movie where it really, really affected people when it came out.
Yeah, Well, because you figure around the time that it came out, it was like
People were walking out of the theater like
it was back in the
like,
70s. I mean, you
Yeah.
figure a girl masturbating with a crucifix.
that's shocking images. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
People couldn't take it. Like people were walking out of the theater, go like, I can't. It's too much.
I think that's the idea nowadays.
That's why, like, when you watch movies at that time period, it's different from like if like young kids watch it today. Like we've seen so many things that are worse that when you watch that, you just kind of like. That's why they're probably just like, that's not a big deal,
Yeah.
you know.
But
Yeah.
you got to think it's like at the time, it was.
Yeah, at the time,
mindset.
everybody talks about it.
Put yourself in 1973. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I need to go to church. Yeah, that's the thing. Like people were going to church in droves because of the movie.
Yeah.
People didn't want any, like it affected that. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
saw that movie for the first time when I was in high school, and I do remember the time I specifically watched it first, and it did disturb me.
Yeah.
It was like in 1997, I think, is when I first saw it.
That's one of the few movies I do hesitate watching on my own. I've never seen it on my own.
What's
It's been a
that?
while. The Exorcist.
Oh, The Exorcist. Okay.
Yeah, I've never seen it on my own, and that's why one of the reasons I haven't seen it in a long time. Like, oh fuck, like I should
Just
go
watch
for
it.
it. Like,
Watch it tonight.
By yourself, lights off.
Yeah, but
I'll just watch Truth or Dare for the 100th time.
but yeah. Anyways, I can go on and on about The Exorcist, but it's easily my favorite horror film of all time. I mean, it's a fantastic movie, so that's my number one favorite.
No, you saw the theatrical cut first over the.
No, the first cut I saw was the director's cut.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the director's cut first.
Okay.
Yep.
See-
So that's my number one. Yep.
I don't know why. For the longest time, I used to confuse Poltergeist with Exorcist. I don't know why. Because they both had little girls and then. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. Whenever I watch Poltergeist nowadays, when I watch Poltergeist and whenever I see Heather O'Rourke on screen, I get a little sense of sadness.
yeah, because she's so small and innocent.
That's a creepy
Well,
movie.
she died making the third movie.
Yeah.
That's what's sad. Yeah, when you hear about like what she went through, that's pretty bad stuff.
When it comes to like creepy movies, like actually creepy, scary movies, Poltergeist, that's actually one of.
And don't forget about that Poltergeist curse that's behind the movies.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Dominic Dunn being murdered, Heather O'Rourke dying on Poltergeist 3, and the old guy dying on Part 2. And
Corpses.
yeah,
That's weird,
Oh.
man.
Yeah, they had real skeletons. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
What happened there?
yeah.
Help,
But
Spielberg.
yeah.
Spielbergo. All right, that's a good choice, man.
yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So, last but certainly not least, me, my number one. I will hold.
Really looking forward to
What?
Batman and Robin.
it. Number one's going to be. I
It
was
is
like,
pretty scary sometimes.
That is a scary movie.
number one was going to be Scream, but I'm really interested in hearing.
No. And this shouldn't be no surprise to anybody. My number one is
Halloween.
Halloween. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Awesome.
Tony
I was wondering
Rand's-
if someone was going to mention it.
No, I'm shocked nobody fucking mentioned it here. It's
It's
me.
my top 10, not my top 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, Halloween. Everything's been said with this movie, John Carpenter, classic. Even though I will say, like, The Thing, like, just from a technical standpoint, The Thing is his top. John Carpenter at his best, The Thing.
Yeah.
But I always prefer this one. Yeah,
I prefer that over the thing.
it's a slasher movie, so of course I'm gonna go with Halloween. But yeah, of course, Donald Pleasance, Loomis. That's I can't see anybody else playing that role ever.
All right.
Sorry, Malcolm McDowell. You're no Dr. Loomis. You're no Donald Pleasance. But yeah, Jim Lee Curtis. This is his first leading role.
This is your first you did.
Yeah. Everybody else was great. I liked. You know what I also like about this movie is the corniness of it, because it's very like
Very
TV
simple.
TV 70s acting, but I like it. Of course, Michael Myers is one of the top greatest horror villains of all time. The mask, the jumpsuit, the knife, everything, and of course, John Carpenter did the music. It's my favorite score of all time. That Halloween theme music, it never gets sick of hearing it. So it's great.
Oh, it's a great score.
And it's funny, I didn't see this one, the original. I never seen it till after I moved to Illinois. So it actually helped me because it actually worked because it's the Midwest, and that's actually made it more creepy for me. And there's a house. I swear to God, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this to you guys. There's a house a few blocks from where I live that looks very similar to the Myers house. Yeah, and I did go to the actual location to some of the parts they filmed the movie a few years ago.
Wait, you went to the real locations?
Yeah, I went where the bush was, the little hedge where he was hiding. I went to that, and the school where Tommy Doyle went to.
That's awesome.
It's cool. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I didn't. You know what? People will say that they knocked at the people who owned the house, the hedge, to ask permission to film a little bit or take pictures. I didn't fucking ask. I didn't knock at the door. I just did it anyway. So whatever. Even though technically I was trespassing, I was stepping on the grass.
Do you have a video of that, on YouTube?
I have pictures. I do have a video of that. Not on YouTube, but I can send it. I still have it saved.
Yeah.
It's on my Facebook.
Yeah, I believe I saw those. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a few years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, Halloween. That's the best Halloween movie.
And actually, we're playing up.
Yeah.
The convention I went to in Atlantic City.
Mm-hmm.
I met Amanda Wiss, met Heather Langenkamp.
Mm-hmm.
They had the next one's coming up in March, and they actually announced the first guest that's going to be there, and it's Tony Moran.
Oh wow! Have you ever met Tony Moran?
Nah, I didn't get to meet Tony Moran yet.
We got to meet him first, or you so stuck on that, Billy boy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I got to get to meet Tony Moran.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Just to add to what another great thing I feel about Halloween is the movie is shot like if you or I or a regular person would film the film.
It's low budget. You can tell it's low budget.
But it's almost like anyone could have filmed that film in that way, but it wouldn't have turned out like that if
that's good.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
The movie holds up, even though it was filmed like I said, if just a regular Joe would have went out and said, "Hey, we're gonna make this movie," and even like you had said, the actors and actresses, it'd be like if you took some not so good actors or actresses off of the street and put them in a film. Mine Donald Pleasance, who's great in the movie.
Yeah, he was already a legendary actor.
Donald Pleasance is great. One of my favorite Donald Pleasance movies is Alone in the Dark.
Prince of Darkness, great.
Prince of Darkness, yeah. Another
Hey Dan, you ever see Alone in the Dark?
Oh, the 90s movie?
The one from the 80s.
Oh, I don't think so.
About
the one with Christian Slater and Tara Reid?
No.
That's the one I'm thinking of in that movie.
Yeah.
It was Alone in the Dark in the 80s. It was by Jack Shoulder, who did Elm Street 2. Mm-hmm. And it was about 4 mental patients escaped from the mental asylum, and Donald Pleasance plays one of the doctors that works there.
Oh, okay.
He plays the doctor.
Martin Landau is one of the bad guys. Jack Palance is a bad guy. It's a pretty interesting movie.
God. 2 little mice. Aren't they beautiful?
Yeah.
And Cash.
I got no. I mean, I've talked about Halloween so many times.
I know, we always bring up our favorite movies.
I'm sick of Halloween. That's a great choice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All great choices.
Yeah. Well, now we can mention our own mentions.
Well,
we hear another.
Well, I can do mine quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Want me to go? I'll go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, you can go. How many do you got? 10?
I'm just gonna list them. All right. So, Jaws, course.
Yes.
One of my favorites, Stir of Echoes. I think this
Great movie.
doesn't get talked about enough. Return of the Living Dead.
Great.
Yeah. Love that one.
What Dan mentioned, The Ring, of course.
Great.
Darkness
Oh
Falls.
yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Nice.
I know you guys like the movie.
Shut up.
I don't like the movie.
Hills Have Eyes remake.
Excellent.
The very first Alien.
The original Alien. Great.
Alien. Of course, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Excellent.
Classic. Of course, Alex. Here we got Halloween. Of course.
Woo!
Misery.
Oh my God! How did I
Misery is a
not
good
know
one.
that one?
That's a good one.
Pet Sematary.
The new one, right?
Yeah, the new one.
The Thing. John Carpenter.
Nice.
The Conjuring.
Yes.
And number one.
This is my personal favorite, House of Thousand Corpses. I love it. I don't know. I know it gets a lot of hate. Orphan.
Good one.
Uh,
You know,
yeah, that's a decent one. Yeah.
You haven't seen Orphan? Oh, well, I know what we're watching now.
yeah,
Okay. As Above, So Below. I love it.
I like that one.
Night of the Living Dead, 1990.
that's a good one.
Excellent.
30 Days of Night.
Underrated.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that one.
Underrated. I love that one.
Last is Train to Busan. This is a zombie movie. I know you haven't seen it. Now you love zombie movies. You love this one. Have you guys seen this one?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh my
I
god,
don't think I've even heard of it.
you're missing out, man.
It's a zombie movie?
It's a zombie movie, but God, it is so.
Is it a foreign film?
Yeah, it's a foreign
Okay.
film. I don't know who directed it. Yeah, I can't pronounce the name. But anyway,
What
Yeah.
country?
I believe Korea.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was Japan.
Or wait, no, you're right, Japan.
Okay.
I was looking at the languages. Yeah, okay, it's Japan. So yeah, they're on trains and they're trying to get to this place called Busan, and there's a zombie outbreak, and they're on the train, and there's zombies in the cars, and this one guy, he's like, "What are we gonna do if they bite us?" He's like, they take the covers off the seats, and they make like reinforce their arms and stuff, and they start barreling through the zombies, like punching them and like using these as shields and like trying to get through because they're trying to bite them. Oh, it's so awesome! It is an awesome.
You know
movie.
what? I thought about like, how come nobody in zombie movies or zombie shows ever fucking do that?
I don't.
Ever.
I know it's so different from what you've seen on mainstream.
hmm
It's
Yeah.
it's really good. Those are my recommendations if you haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, that's one I haven't seen. All the ones you haven't mentioned today, that's the only one I haven't seen.
Dan,
And The Descent.
I'm going to put aside Orphan and Train to Busan. I think we could watch those.
I've
Definitely.
seen everything. Yeah,
Orphan is fantastic. Like, anyway, those are some of my honorable mentions, and some of those were actually in my top 10. So,
Yeah.
All right.
yep.
I'll go next. I don't. Okay. The original Psycho. It's a great movie.
Oh yeah.
You guys mentioned this already. The Shining, Stanley Kubrick's Shining.
Yep.
I want to rewatch that in case I do have time to see Dr. Sleep. I want The Shining to fresh in my memory.
Yeah. Sure.
What's this one? No one's mentioned this yet. Friday 13th.
The original one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Friday 13th in general. You know, I love.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street, of course. The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. The Exorcist.
Yep.
Child's Play, the original.
Yep.
Jaws.
I was gonna. Oh God.
What?
If you were gonna say the remake, I
I didn't like it that much.
I know, but
I liked it, but I prefer the original Child's Play movies. Jaws. That's one like I really think I should have put it in top because Jaws is a great fucking movie. Alien, original Alien. You know what though? The original Terminator, I would consider that a horror movie.
see, I agree. That's almost like a horror action film.
Yes.
I kind of like Cobra.
So I'll mention that Terminator, the original Terminator.
Cobra is actually listed as a slasher. It's still because Scream Factory came out with that. Scream Factory only does like horror stuff, and they came out with Cobra, and I'm like, well, that is kind of a horror film in a way. So
Yeah, I consider it the first Terminator a horror movie.
I can see that.
I mean, it's also like kind of like a slasher film too.
Yeah.
Scream 2 I love. I know Rob's not the biggest fan of Scream 2. Whatever.
Hey.
I'll defend them.
Yo.
And then here's one movie that really creeped me out the first time I saw it. And why I do want to mention this in case you guys don't mention it. The Strangers.
Yes.
That's
a good one.
Man, like
oh, that's another one we got.
That's something that you haven't seen it, Dan?
Liv Tyler, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen it, Dan? Oh my God, you gotta see it. It's so cool, man. Yeah.
Okay.
God damn it. But yeah, like just people like the safest place you could think of is your own house, and you're not safe in your own house. Damn, that's creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That movie like really got to me when I first saw it. But yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Good ones. All right.
And I do okay. You know what? I haven't mentioned a zombie movie. One of my favorites is Return of the Living Dead. Love that movie.
Oh, that's great.
Make it shut up.
I'll put it in the damn head.
All right, I'll go next. Okay, so my honorable mentions, I'll say Conjuring 1 and 2. I actually like both of those. Evil Dead remake, I liked it.
What?
And what's right? It's a good movie.
I hated that movie, man. I'm sorry.
Why?
I have the unrated.
Is it because Bruce Campbell ain't in it?
No, I'm not even the biggest Evil Dead fan. I just thought I hated the story. I don't know.
I mean, I will give it that dude was stupid for reading the book, but
yes,
it was practical.
And that guy wouldn't that guy wouldn't fucking die. Just die already, man. You asshole. This is the reason why this whole shit happened.
You fucking asshole.
Yeah.
All right, Frozen.
That's a good one.
Oh,
not that one.
Let it go.
I've got Get Out on here.
Yes.
I put Gremlins on here because that's considered.
Yeah. You know what? You're right.
It's a horror comedy, I think.
It's a horror comedy.
The original Halloween. Stephen King's It, the miniseries. Return of the Living Dead. Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, those films. The Exorcist, Frailty.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Friday the 13th. The remake. I like the Friday the 13th remake.
Yeah, I did too. You said that before we did the show that you thought we didn't like it. Like, no. I like that movie a lot.
Okay. The Hills Have Eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The Range. Silence of the Lambs, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, original and the remake, Stir of Echoes, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Shining. You guys already said that. Halloween, Frailty. Yeah. So I'm gonna say this: Nightmare on Elm Street. I've never had a dream about Michael Myers coming after me or Jason coming after me or anything like that. But like I've had multiple dreams, and I'm talking like in the last couple of years, and like just grow up like of having Freddy Krueger in a dream.
I never dreamed of Freddy Krueger.
I don't know. It's creepy, and like it's always it's always these weird situations where I'm like not quite afraid of him, but I am. But it's just weird that shows up in my dreams. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't think I've ever had like a dream with all these like any of these characters. I might have had I think I had one dream about Michael Myers once, and that's really it. I never had a Freddy Krueger dream or Jason. I did have a Chucky dream one time. That was pretty creepy. Yeah.
I've had multiple shark dreams though, and like it's always like I wake myself up because it's so terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. You know what? I do want to mention another movie. The Witches. I consider that a horror movie.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's
It's a great movie. I don't know if I would call it a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, what else would you call it?
I mean,
A drama?
no, probably like
Adventure?
it would probably be under adventure
How is it adventure though?
because it's a family film.
Yeah.
That's
So a witch is trying to kill kids, man. It's a horror movie.
I get it. But
No, they're not. They want to turn them into mice.
And kill them too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess they did try to.
Their goal is to kill all the children in the world.
they show a kidnapping. Yeah.
Yeah, the Rob, you mentioned this before, like the opening with the story of the little girl.
Raisins are all around the edge of these cakes.
Yeah.
They're really good.
There was Erica locked in the painting.
Uh-huh.
Papa, Papa. That is crazy.
Yeah. See. Yeah. See? Yeah.
Bruno. Come, Bruno. I got the chocolate.
What the fuck are you doing?
I thought she was getting horny. in that scene.
Yeah, you know what? I always thought that too. Like, what the fuck?
The Grand High Horny Witch.
She's like, you're in. Zip.
No, that scene when the
Bruno.
Why is she talking like that?
Come eat my chocolate here.
no, that scene when that other witch is talking to Luke and the treehouse.
Right?
Dude, that got to me because he's screaming for his grandma and she's not coming out. And that always got me like, what if like during that situation you're a kid, you're screaming out for your guardian or parent and they're not around and this fucking witch is trying to get you, you know, that's scary.
You hurt my
Yes.
grandma.
She can't hear you.
Yeah, that part where she says she can't hear you, like that's fucking scary, man.
Your name is Luke, is it?
Yeah.
Grandma.
Yes, my name is Luke Skywalker. I'm
Oh my God.
Dude.
Grandma, sugar can kill you. It was very little, my dear. Very little.
I heard
You know who's playing the Grand High Witch in the remake? Anne fucking Hathaway.
Woo!
that. I don't know. She might do all right.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that.
I don't want to.
She's a
No,
good actress.
the thing that's gonna kill it if they use CGI.
What?
If they use CGI for
Where's
it.
something skimpy and sexy? There
Well, she was good in Les Mis.
you go. Les Miserables. Look
Yeah, less miserable. That movie was miserable watching.
Brokeback Mountain, she was great.
Fucking Russell Crowe singing. Oh.
He sucked in that movie, but I'm a big. I've seen Les Mis many times on Broadway.
Les Mis.
Wow.
I've seen it on Broadway several times. I've seen movie variations. What?
Les Mis.
No.
You don't like Les Mis, Alan?
No.
You don't?
No, it's not a thing against musicals. Like, dude, musicals have a break point when they don't sing. Les Mis, they fucking sing throughout the whole goddamn thing. Literally. Stop fucking singing.
Les Mis.
Stop the killing.
You like Grease, don't you?
Not really.
I got chills.
That movie sucks.
You know how I said, like, in Batman vs Superman, I said, stop the killing, and Les Mis, stop the singing.
Yeah. Grease has a couple good songs, but other than that, that movie's stupid.
That movie's not good.
That movie sucks.
Grease too.
Grease 2 is
Grease
better.
Fuck that.
Oh, the word fuck that. Oh, man.
Yeah, way off topic. here.
Oh.
Les Mis, seriously, man? Les Mis?
Les Mis.
Grandma.
Okay. Okay, Thomas needs to go on it.
Podcast about the witches.
Yeah,
The
no.
Witch is great, man.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
horror,
great
though.
movie.
It is fucking horror, man.
That just got released on Blu-ray. Just got released.
The
I have
scene,
it on DVD only.
dude, the scene when Bruce turns into a rat, it's not fucking creepy as fuck.
Who?
When Bruce,
Bruno?
the fat kid, gets turned into a
Bruno?
mouse.
He doesn't get turned into a rat.
Sorry, a mouse. My bad.
Rat, mouse, same thing.
It is crazy though. Like, yeah, they try to murder the.
Oh, Liebchen.
There you go. Back home to Luke. Oh.
Yes, Reg.
Yeah.
Rowan Atkinson.
Mr. Bean was the hero in that movie.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
He killed the Grand Hand Witch.
He tried to get it on with that girl. That movie has sex in it. The witches.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he like kiss her and she's got fur and she's like,
Wait,
Whoa.
she puts it on her breast.
yeah, she's like,
Come on, movie. Kids movie.
yeah, kids moving my ass. Witches hate children. They kidnap them and yeah, that's
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that movie gave me nightmares.
today's standard. They look down on it. Me Too movement.
the witches in the audience, a lot of them are guys. Did you know that?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Guys in drag, yeah. In the background. Yeah. I guess they couldn't afford actresses. I don't know.
That lady told me that she'd give me 3 chocolate bars.
You man, remove your shoes.
They call it, hold on. Sorry.
Okay, magic.
I called that kid Bruce. I meant fucking Bruno. That's his name. Not Bruce.
Yeah, get it right. Come on, you said that's your favorite movie.
I didn't say that.
Les Mis is your favorite. Grease is the word, motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
Trick or treat, motherfucker. I went to the garage.
That's what I said.
I'm going on that rap song. Go out to the garage. He's a cool
You don't
shot.
get it? You don't get it?
Hey,
I'm sorry. Like, imagine if you try to do that with Jason. Jason will fucking slice him too.
Well,
Don't
shit.
do that shit.
Tell you, motherfucker. You ain't supposed to be playing Michael Myers. I'm playing Michael Myers, huh? You don't get it? You don't get it? Skedaddle. You gotta get out of here.
Out of doors.
I like how Busta Rhymes was able to overcome Michael.
He knew karate.
Honorable mentions, Thomas. But what's your honorable mentions? You haven't mentioned.
My
Hey,
other
what do you feel when your fat son
mentions.
with that chocolate bar?
The chocolate bar.
Well, you could just forget it, Rick. Vic.
Way out of line.
Rick?
Don't tell the girls. Oh my god.
That guy died.
Good.
I know. Good riddance, right? No, like for real.
Oh my god. Savage.
Oh,
Randall said.
the character is Joey.
The rest in the stand, right? Randall said.
Randall Flagg.
Oh, wait.
The guy that was in the Friday the 13th Part 5 actually did pass away.
Yeah.
Oh, Van.
Oh yeah, Randall Savage. Yeah.
Sorry, Thomas.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, some of my honorable mentions. I think you guys mentioned some of them before, but I'll mention some new ones in here too. But Frailty.
Yep.
The original Halloween. Hills of Eyes remake. John Carpenter's The Thing. Nightmare on Elm Street. Jaws. One that we haven't mentioned yet before, the original Carrie.
Oh
That's
yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
Poltergeist, had to mention that one too. Hellraiser.
We're going too many Alexes. Alex, you're just sitting there being quiet. Is kind of creepy.
He's not gonna respond. You don't do that.
Yeah, but Hellraiser, that's another great one. I don't think we mentioned that one before already, but Hellraiser. Another one we haven't mentioned yet before, the original My Bloody Valentine. Also, we didn't mention this one either, the Blob remake.
I like that one. A lot of people give that one crap. Like I like that Sean Smith, and like, that's a good one.
Another underrated
Tell
one.
me, fucking Rob made me break character. God damn it.
Why? What I did?
When you said like that movie, give that movie crap.
One of the other honorable mentions that I had to bring this movie up because it's so underrated. April Fool's Day. It's the original.
That's a good one.
I've watched that movie more than the other.
The original April Fool's Day from
People who
'86.
don't like it are stupid.
Um,
They're fools.
Hey, Jason, you fixed your eye?
no,
Well, yeah. What am I saying? I'm so confused.
No, Roy had the blue chevrons.
also have the original miniseries of It. That's another one.
I'm sorry, it feels like we're ignoring Thomas. No, we're
I'm
listening.
not.
No.
I'm listening.
The original miniseries of It. Alex mentioned this already. Scream. Had to have that there. Child's Play. And also one thing that I could, like Dan said before, like Dawn of the Dead's like an action horror movie. This is an action horror movie too, but I had to mention it in my honorable mentions. Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aliens. Yeah.
Aliens is my favorite.
Terminator. That's kind of
Yeah, yeah,
don't
yeah.
you compare that to the Terminator 1 and 2, like
Yeah.
Alien 1 and 2?
James Cameron, did he do Alien 1 or not?
No, Ridley Scott.
Oh, right.
Also, too, we didn't mention this one, but the Fly remake, David Cronenberg.
Oh yeah, that's a gross movie.
Get Out. Alex mentioned that already. Friday the 13th. The Conjuring, both of them. And my last honorable mention that Rob also mentioned, but I love also, is Stir of Echoes.
Oh, good one.
Yep. So those are all of my honorable mentions.
Yeah, you did. I think.
Okay, yep, I did.
Alex is literally just sitting there, just not talking.
Get over it, Roy. Your kid's dead. Victor.
You're way out of line. He's literally just still sitting there.
Oh, those are some good honorable mentions.
Yeah, you guys.
God damn it, Rob, you make me break character again.
Oh man, it's so hard when you don't say anything.
Shit. I barely can breathe in that fucking thing. It's hard, dude.
So
Anyway.
we all agree, Les Mis is
The worst
Probably-
musical ever made, yeah. Behind Grease.
Grease is definitely up there.
Grease too,
all
yeah.
the classics. They're all classics.
I just saw Hamilton, and they sing throughout that whole movie too.
Gross.
Play
Hamlet.
the play Hamilton.
Gross.
Good. All the songs are like they rap in song. Almost.
What do you think of the Rocky Horror Picture Show? The Rocky Balboa Horror Picture Show.
Rocky Balboa.
I don't know. I'm not a fan, but I don't hate the movie. I'm just okay with it, I guess.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Well,
It's overrated.
My sister is in love with that movie. She's a huge hardcore fan.
well,
Yeah, those are. You know what though? This show lasted fucking longer than I thought it would.
Well, we started late though.
yeah, we started late.
But imagine we actually did top 10. Dude, we'd go on for 5 hours, probably.
Yeah.
Down, so.
Yeah, that's our favorite movies.
Fine, just do don't do anything more than top 5. 'Cause
Yeah. For sure, we're gonna go in depth with it. But yeah, you guys want to recap your top 5? Kind of just like no.
Yeah.
Yes, number 5, It, the 2017. Number 4, The Ring, the remake. 3, Dawn of the Dead, the remake. 2, The Sixth Sense, the remake.
The remake.
The remake. Number 1.
Okay, I'll go. Number 5, the remake of The Descent. Number 4, the remake of Blair Witch Project. Number 3 is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I do like the remake. And the original Dawn of the Dead is number 2. The original, not the remake, and then The Shining, the remake.
I guess I'll recap
Yeah,
that.
go ahead, recap.
My number 5 is the Candyman remake. Number 4, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even though I do like the remake.
Yeah.
Gotta get the other one here. The remake of the Blair Witch Project is number 3. Number 2 is the remake of The Shining. And number 1 is the remake of The Exorcist.
Great
Oh,
remake. Great remake.
Right, recap in mind. Number 5 was the remake of Blair Witch. Number 4 was the remake of Get Out. Number 3.
Man, that was close.
That was
That was close.
Number 3 was the remake of Silence of the Lambs. Number 2 was the remake of Scream. And number 1 was the original Halloween because fuck the remake.
In the remake of Silence of the Lambs, Anthony Hopkins actually had 18 minutes of screen time.
Yes.
Yep.
Or maybe 19.
Jamie Lee Curtis is gonna get killed at the beginning of Halloween Kills.
If that
Ah!
happens, I will walk out of the theater.
Me too. Me too. I'll walk out.
Yeah.
Another Halloween resurrection moment.
See, I'll drive over there, watch it with you guys, Halloween Kills, and if that happens, if she gets killed in the opening, me and Rob will walk out and we'll leave Dan all by himself in the theater watching.
Keep go with
Well, I was gonna
Yeah.
agree, but now I don't know.
And then Buster Rhymes will be cameo.
Not related to her, so would it really matter?
Yes.
Well, then she sucks as a character because if she prepared all those years to get back at him,
Then dies the
then fuck her.
It's just like Friday the 13th Part 2 and Halloween 5, how they kill off the main character at
Kill
the
off
beginning.
Adrian King and Ellie or Cornell.
At the beginning, like that's a stupid thing. I hate when movies do that.
I'll see you in hell. Mwah.
Yeah, let's kiss it.
I'll see you in hell. Mwah.
Kill me.
All right. I'm gonna end the broadcast.
Okay.
Thanks
All
for
right.
watching.
All right, thanks everybody who commented. Drunk G3PO, Crazy Joe, and Chucky Doll
Thanks for commenting.
commenting. Thanks for coming and commenting.
Hey, before you cut it off, what's going to be the movie mentioned tonight that you watched the earliest? I think The Shining for me.
The earliest?
What?
What?
I mean, like after going through this, what movie was mentioned that you're like, oh man, I want to watch that? And like,
Oh,
you-
yeah, The
you know,
Shining.
Recommendation.
to me, it's going to be. I really, after talking about it, I want to watch The Shining again.
The
Like,
Shining.
We're gonna watch Orphan and Train to Be
Yeah.
Sane.
And, yeah, I want to see that. I want to see The Descent. I haven't seen it.
Yes,
yeah.
get
yeah.
yes.
I really want to rewatch it. Candyman again. That'd be
Also want to watch.
I say we watch The Shining.
Okay.
Also want to watch the Exorcist remake.
Yes, we do.
I'd go watch Candyman after this, to be honest.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Oh, you have the.
Dr. Zaius.
Are you seeing Dr. Sleep in the theater?
No, I fell asleep. Ah.
That was like a dad joke. That was a me joke.
Yeah.
No, really. Are you serious? Are you though?
No.
What?
Are you seeing Dr. Sleep?
In the theater.
Yeah, I think I am. I think I will.
Good.
I will.
That's
Hopefully I
good.
don't fall asleep.
That's a strong move.
You know what, though? Just
Seriously.
because no one's made this joke tonight, I'll fucking make it. Dr.
What,
Sleep will be the best movie of the year if Kat Dennings shows up.
There we go.
Well, I think you're.
Hey, Dr. was getting good early reviews, so that's
I heard
good.
that Dr. Sleep was directed by Nick Castle.
You spilled my fucking water, man.
Oh Jesus!
Oh,
I hope we get a Grease 3. I really do.
Okay, that's it. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, take care, buddy.
Well,
well, wait, but before we head off, let's go. Let's get a Les Mis too.
Fuck no.
Hey, miserably.
Just do Electric Boogaloo. Good night, everyone. Everybody have a happy Halloween.
Oh my God! Yeah, have a happy.
Happy Christ, man.
Happy Halloween. Silver Shamrock.
There's one good scare.
Happy Arbor Day. Arbor Day.
I don't know what death is.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Reese's.